Okay. Oh man, where were we last time? We are gonna have to pull up the. What we're gonna have to do here? We're gonna have to pull up the list. Excuse me. We have a list. We got a list of requests, and it is time to go ahead and pull that list up. Time is it 1:12:20? Okay, we're good. All right, I'm gonna wait for this to process real quick. All right, I think we're good to go. All right, so let me go ahead and pull up that list. Where's our notepad here? File, open, and I believe it was this one. Yeah, this was the last list we had, but we'll come back to this. Excuse me. Oopsies, that is not what I wanted to do. There we go. Yeah, this is a fun one. So I'll talk about this in a second, but welcome guys. Welcome back to another live stream. Today we're going to be doing basically anything you guys want. Just go ahead and drop a comment. I'm going to go ahead and get started with collecting some suggestions from you guys. I'm also going to engage with you by, starting a poll. So let's go ahead and start a poll and see what you guys want to learn today. What should today's topic be? Question mark. I'm thinking something between modeling, geometry nodes, physics, and then there's a couple other ones. Shaders. Let's go ahead and start a poll and see what the people want to see. Excuse me. Welcome back, guys. I'm Kenny Phases. I'm going to be hosting today's live stream with CG Cookie. And let me go ahead and get my Blender hat on here. We're going to be creating pretty much anything that you guys want to. As long as I have the skills to do it, please go ahead and answer the poll below. Looks like we only have 2 votes in right now, but go ahead and answer that. While you're answering that, I'm going to pull up, let's see. I'm going to pull up one of our projects from the last time. There was a cool one I think we were working on. All right, let's see where it is here. Man, we were working on, oh, this was the one. We were working on this one. This was a fun one. Yeah, we were working on a Lego guy here, and this was a super fun one because we did some modeling. And we also did a little bit of like texturing, shading, things like that, and this one was a really, really fun one here. Oh man, modeling's taking the cake for the vote here. Let's see what we get. Let's see what we get. Okay. All right, I think modeling might be the winner here. So we had about 7 votes, but we do have 18 people watching, so I'm going to give people a little bit more time because modeling's kind of close to geometry nodes. Excuse me. Oh my gosh, I am so sorry, guys. I have the hiccups. I'm trying to get rid of them, so I apologize if you're hearing that on the live stream. Man, there were some cool ones on here too that we did last time. Oh, this was the Bobcat that we were modeling. Oh, this was a fun one. Oh my gosh, geometry nodes is catching up, actually. Is there any way to make dynamic wave foam for a boat? I'm sure there is, because I think in the fluid solver you can add foam. I believe that you can. Almost positive about that. Almost 100% positive. Who are some Blender creators that you regularly watch and learn from? Oh, that's a great question. I'll list them out. Let me just do this. Creators that I watch. Ducky 3D, he was one of the first people I actually ever watched. Of course, you know, you got Blender Guru. Default Cube. CG Vertex. CG Cookie, of course. And then there was CG... Oh, what was the other one? Was it CG Vertex? CG... Oh, what was the other one? I gotta go into my the people that I'm subscribed to. I think, was it Olav Tutorials. Obviously, I will shout myself out. Kenny Phases. This is my channel. That's my YouTube and Instagram, stuff like that. And then, yeah, CG Cookie. What else do I learn from? It's Default Cube, CG Vertex. I think there's another one I'm missing, but I can't remember. But these are some good ones here, just to get you started. But there's man, there's so many great creators out there. Oh, there's Smouse. There's what is that guy's name? Smurf? Is it Smurf? No, I feel like Smeef. That's it, Smeef. And then there's something caramel. I forget. Oh, Cartesian caramel. Oh yeah, Bad Normals. Thank you. I got it. Like, there's so many. There's so many. I'll be here all day. I have to go through my list because the thing about like all these creators is like I've learned like a little bits and pieces from each one to like learn what I know. These are some great channels that I'll shout out though. They're all fantastic channels. I mean, there's so many great creators out there in Blender, and you never really know what you're gonna find. So you kind of just go online, search what you're searching for, and then you find who's like the best at those specific things. Oh, there's also Arion, he's a really good creator and he's really good at modeling. So like compared to what I'm doing, oh my gosh, yeah, no, he's 10 times better. Yeah, this is looking cool. So yeah, all right, let's see what the vote is at. Let's end the poll. Oh my gosh, Geometry Nodes won. Okay. All right, so Geometry Nodes won. All right, here's what we'll do. I will go ahead and add in a cube, and we'll do something in Geometry Nodes since that's what you guys want to learn. And then it looks like the second most voted was modeling. So we'll do another vote later for between modeling and Geometry Nodes and see what people want to continue with. But for right now, I'll do a few little lessons on some Geometry Nodes here. Comment in the chat what you would want to learn specifically, but for right now, I'm going to kind of show you guys like some cool things that I've been kind of like working on. I want to show you an add-on that I just released. Let me just add in, let me just add in the camera here. I want to show you an add-on that I just released. Let me just get my camera in here. Now, this add-on is actually really cool. I want to show you. This isn't to sell you the add-on, but I'm going to show you another way that I was going to go about creating it. So the add-on is called TriView, and the way it works is just go ahead and adjust these dividers. Basically, it's going to take, when I click Refresh Live View, it's going to go through, it's going to take the wireframe, is going to take the solid view, and then it's going to take the Eevee render, and it's going to split them up into thirds, just like you see here, right? And what you can do is now you can adjust these dividers. So I don't know if you guys have ever seen this, but there's like, you can basically go and take 3 renders and then stitch them together in Photoshop or Canva or whatever, or even Blender. But this kind of does it all for you, and I'll show you how it works. So let me just go ahead and give this a few subdivisions so you can really see, and I'll even, you know, maybe I'll extrude a few pieces here or something. I don't know, something like this, right? Whatever, right? So now you kind of have this weird shape. Now I'll go ahead and enable it, and then I will refresh the view. So now it's going to take the wireframe again, it's going to take the solid view, and then it's going to take the like quote-unquote rendered view. And what's really cool is now, again, we can adjust this, and then we can actually render this whole thing out. So we can decide where the wireframe starts and stops, right? Which is really cool. But the real magic, in my opinion, would be to also get this to work in real time with geometry nodes. So let me show you kind of like how I would go about doing that. This again is just an example for you guys, but it does work in Eevee and it does work in Cycles. But I want to show you guys like how would I go about this just in Blender, like with just geometry nodes. So originally I was going to create this project in geometry nodes just to give you like an idea of what I was going to do. So what I'll do is I will go ahead and give us a better model. So I'm going to add in our monkey. I'm going to subdivide the monkey, and I'm going to convert to mesh and then shade it smooth. So right now we have our monkey, right? But I want to go ahead and add a geometry node setup. Oopsies. You know what? I'll just add Geo. We'll shade it smooth in a second. All right, new geometry node setup. So I'm going to go ahead and move my face up here, move these down here. So what we're going to do is I'm basically going to split this up into 3 different sections, okay? So what I'll do is I'll first convert it to a curve, mesh to curve, and I'm going to rejoin everything in the end anyway, so let's do that. So right now we have our mesh to curve. You can see it's kind of like overlaid on top of there, okay? And then we're going to do the same thing. Okay, so then we're going to do the same thing. So we have mesh to curve, right? And then we're going to do curve to mesh just to give it some like solidity, if you will. And I'm going to go ahead and add in a curve circle here. And this is going to be the profile object for our curve. You can see it's going to be really big, so we're going to reduce it down a little bit. All right, so what we have is we have our wireframe and our solid, but there's one more thing we need. We need our like rendered view. So this is where we get into like material design as well. So this is gonna be kind of interesting. So we have our wireframe, we have our solid. Now here's the cool part. This is where like the actual magic comes in. We want to use a delete geometry node, and what that'll do is that'll get rid of the curve, which it should because that's how it works. It takes geometry and it deletes it. But you can see there's a selection right here, so we can select which part of the geometry we actually want to delete. So what I'll do is I will take the position because I want to look at the position on X, Y, or Z. So in this case, I will do separate X, Y, Z. And now I can decide, okay, what specific position do I want to focus on? Well, I want it to come across the X axis. So what I'll do is I'll compare this. I'll compare X like this, right? And what we'll do is we'll say, okay, if it is less than 0, which is like the middle mark, delete it. And there you go. And here's the cool part, right? Is now we can animate this, right? We can be like, you know what? I actually want more of this showing or less. But in this case, if I just wanted half, now you can see, it's actually kind of cool. It looks like Spider-Man or something. You can see that now we have half of the wireframe and we have half of the solid. But we really don't because we have the full solid. But let me show you how we would do the same thing, but with our solid. So this is our solid down here. So now we just have the half of our wireframe, and now this part right here, we're going to do the exact same thing. So I'm going to duplicate these nodes for our selection, but this time I want to do greater than. And now we have the flip, right? This is the flipped version. Now there's one kind of like issue with like setting this up. Sometimes you get some weird like issues with where things are getting deleted. So there's a couple of ways around that. You can subdivide it again before doing all this. Or what you can do is you can do a Boolean, a mesh Boolean. But I like this method because it's more like math based. So I'm going to try to subdivide mesh before getting into that. And then I'll do the same on this side. Now you can see it's a little bit more, see how it's like a little bit better? If we subdivide it one more time, it's even just a little bit better, right? And it has to do with the way it's deleting the geometry. So right now I'll just leave it at one subdivision. I'm going to call this split view. So we have a Blender file. And then there's really just one more thing that we want. What we want is we want solid, we want wireframe, and then we want our actual like material. Now the only reason this wouldn't work as an add-on is because I don't want to have people have to go into the nodes, and they would have to like assign their specific material. Even if we made it a group input, like they would still have to do it. I'll show you what I mean. We'll go over to the shading tab, we'll make a new material, and just so we can see this, I'll just make it blue. Now right now you can see that we have blue, which is great, but I'm gonna make a new material slot. And for this one, I'm just going to make it like just a regular white material, okay? Now, I want to assign, go to Material Preview, I want to assign that white material to our white part right here. So I'll just go ahead and do white. Perfect. Now, this has that material that we just created. Actually, I think it's this one. Yeah. So it has that material, and just to verify that that is the correct material, we'll make it yellow. And then what I want is I want the last part to actually have the real material, like the material that would actually get inherited. So what we'll have to do is we'll have to have like one more slice on here with the like actual material. And this is where things get a little bit crazy, right? Because we almost need like a range here. We need like greater than, but also less than, like, right? So we can, I think the way we can do this is with an and operator. So we'll do and, we'll do less than a specific amount. Save this real quick. Believe that is how it'll work. Let's try it. There's that. Okay, so here's the first part, right? This can actually end up being our material. And then we can take the, I believe we can take the opposite and with a color ramp, and then, yeah, this will be archived. Yeah, and then we can take that and that'll be the actual material. And then after that, we'll make 4 tires with geometry nodes. That actually sounds like a really cool challenge. I really like that. All right, we just need one more. I'm gonna feed in this with a reroute. So we're gonna feed in the original geometry right here. And then I'm gonna put this selection in here, but this time I'm gonna do a color ramp. I'm gonna actually invert this selection, which should just be this simple as doing that. We'll try that, and then we will rejoin it all together with a material, and that material will be blue. I don't know if this is going to work, but we'll try it. Ah, it did work. Okay, so we took the invert selection, the inverted, so now we have 3 splits. We have our solid view, our actual material, and then we have our wireframe. And I think this is really powerful. Now, the only reason I haven't released anything like this yet is because there's a lot of troubleshooting with the actual like mesh, which is why sometimes you actually want to use shader nodes for this instead. But you get the rough idea is like we're taking different chunks of this and we're splitting it up, and that's how we get what we're getting right here, which is arguably pretty cool in my opinion. And then you can come back here and you can say, you know what, I actually want a Voronoi texture for our color. And now you can see, like, if we go like this, color ramp, you'll be able to see this a little bit better in a second. Yeah, now you can really see that like this middle one is the textured one, and this one is just like the flat white one, right? So if you go to rendered view, that's what it looks like. And if you really want to, you can actually take your wireframe and give it that like highlighted orange color. So pretty cool. While we're talking about this, though, there's a couple of exciting things kind of coming up that I do want to mention. One of those things is obviously Core. We kind of talked about that before, but another thing is we actually have a sale coming up on Superhive tomorrow. That's our summer sale. I'm super excited about it. I got a bunch of products that I'm going to be putting 25% off, so definitely feel free to check that one out. And then I'm also going to quickly shout out Superhive and our Core course right here. Core, scroll down. I'm just going to plop it into the chat, and then we'll go ahead and create these wheels procedurally using geometry nodes. Here we go. All right, there you go, guys. There it is in the chat. Check it out. It's on sale right now. All right, next up, we have geometry nodes yet again, but this time we're going to make an actual wheel. So this guy is saying, can you build 4 tires? I'm assuming you mean in geometry nodes, but if you don't, we can just model them. But let's just assume you mean geometry nodes. All right, here we go. So in geometry nodes, I mean, I would probably start with a cylinder. I feel like that's the best way to do it. Although, if you're talking about like having spokes, I actually would do this a little differently. I would actually maybe even start with a curved circle. And I would do this. I would do a curved circle first, just to get the spokes, right? And now I would do like, you know, curve to mesh. Okay, and resolution, we can change that. And I actually want to do mesh to point. Actually, no, I can do curve to points. There we go. Delete this. Now look, we have a point every single place that we want like a spoke, and then we can, you know, we can decrease the radius or whatever. So now we can take those spokes and extrude them. And I think we can do points to mesh, or not points to mesh. Can we do points to mesh? I thought you could. No, you can, I'll just do instance on points, that's fine. All right, we'll do instance on points, and I'll just do a mesh line, okay. Now we have the line, these are like the spokes. Well, first of all, we need these to be much, much smaller. And I also want them to like extrude along the curve normal, so I think I can do curve tangent, I wanna say. I think you can do curve tangent, let's see if that works. No, it did not work. Hold on, curve circle. Curve to points. Oh, we can do the normal. That kind of worked a little bit. Actually, that kind of works. Let me see if the tangent works. Oh, perfect, tangent. All right, tangent works. They're a little bit up, and I think to fix that, why is it kind of like this? Oh, hold on. It's weird. It should just be normal. I'm not sure why it's slanted like that. I can fix that. I don't know why it's doing that. Scale instances. I want to scale them. It's weird that I do not know why they're doing that. That is not correct. Tangent. You see tangent points. I have never seen that like ever. I mean, that's more or less how I would go about doing it, but I don't know why it's being so weird. Let me try something else. Mesh. And just do a mesh. Actually, let's do mesh planes. Actually, let me try curve line. Let me just see if that works. Weird. We're still getting the same result. Hey, someone, what's up? What's up, bro? Hey, what's up? Oh my God! No, 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 no. We don't want the BMW M4 Audro. No, no, that thing is going to be the death of me without a doubt. Without a doubt, bro. No, no, no. Yo, this guy really wants me to suffer. No, sir. Let me see this. See, like, it's funny because, like, that kind of works, but it also, like, kind of doesn't work. You know, that's kind of a cool effect, though, isn't it? Kind of cool. Anyway, you know what? Just for a second, let's just pretend Oh, wait a second. Rotate instances. I wonder if I can just rotate them on their Z or their Y. Maybe their X. No, that's weird. I thought maybe I could. Oh, I kind of can. What's the magic number here? Is it 90? Oh, that actually worked. Okay, you know what? It worked, so I'm not going to touch it. All right, good. So we have our spokes. Now what I want to do is I want to realize the instances, and now they become real curves, and now we can take them and do curve to mesh. And then we can do a curve circle. Just for example, it doesn't have to be a curved circle. We plug it in, and now we decrease the radius, and now we have like our wheel spokes, which are really, really, really cool. What's cool about this though, and I don't know if this will work, but if I adjust the resolution, okay, it kind of works, doesn't, oh no, it's curved to points. Here we go. We can actually adjust the amount of spokes, which is really cool. And I do kind of want them to have end caps, so we'll fill the caps. And then here's the cool part. We have our scale right here. We can actually drive this with a spline parameter. And this is the fun part here, because now we can change the shape of our spokes using a color ramp, and we can like make them basically anything they want to be. So here we go. Oh, we need to resample. Just resample these curves. Yeah, there we go. So once we resample, now we can really mess with them. Okay, so what we can do, and in this case, I actually want to do the opposite. I actually want them to be smaller on the corners and larger on this size. Now you're probably thinking, oh, this is pretty limited, but it's actually not, because we can use a multiply node, and we can just multiply this scale. So now we have like, we have spokes for our rim, but this gives you kind of like an idea of like, okay, this is how I would go about doing something like this, right? So all of this just to create procedural rims. And again, if you want more, you can do that. Now, if you want this to be like a sharper fall off, you can do something like this. Now you don't have to do this, right? But I want to show you another cool trick here. There's another cool trick, and that is right here, our resolution. So our resolution's set to like, I don't know, we could do 10, and that gives you kind of a round shape, but you don't have to do a curved circle. You can do a curve primitive, like a curve rectangle. So I'm going to go to add curve, and then under curve, we're going to have all of our primitives here. And one of the primitives that we can use is a quadrilateral, which is, well, basically a square. And then we'll just plug a value into these, because these are going to be really big to start with, right? And now you have an actual quadrilateral, and I actually want to shade. I actually don't want to shade this smooth because I want to see the topology. Yeah, okay, so now we can really see what's going on here. Now here's where it gets interesting, because remember, we have control over everything. So we can control the amount of this being resampled. We can also give this a bevel. So let me just call this whatever. We can also give this a bevel as well. Have I seen the AI generated logo in Discord? No, I don't think I have. But it sounds interesting, I guess. So we can mesh bevel these, and then what I'll do is I'll go ahead and copy this value. So this is going to look weird until we fix it, but all of these values, if we make them all the same, this is basically like the amount of bevel. So if you see, I don't know if you can even see that. Let's see if we make it a little more intense. Yeah, now you can see. So now these actually have a bevel. So now we have like fake rims that are now beveled, which is kind of cool in my opinion. And again, we can adjust these with our color ramp here. So now I have these like procedural rims that we can adjust the thickness of, right? And we can adjust the size of the fall off. So this is where things start to get really interesting, because now that is just the rim spokes. Now what we can do is we can actually take this entire rim and we can fill it with a cylinder in the middle, and then we can create an exterior of the rim with a cylinder. So everything's just cylinders and circles. All of this right here though, everything we just made, I'm just going to group this, and I'm going to call this, I'm going to name this, let's see, where's rename? There it is. Okay, I'll just name this spokes. And we're going to go ahead and just join geometry together, and anything we join will just be another part of the rim. So let's go ahead and add a cylinder. Now, cylinder is obviously just a primitive, but we can work with it, right? We can like go in here, we can adjust the radius. And there's like our middle of our wheel. Right now, our depth is kind of like our height, if you will. So this is kind of like the middle. We can bevel this, give it a nice little bevel. Now you'll notice when we bevel it, it gets kind of weird. And again, that has to do with the values that we're inputting. These offsets are all controllable, which is really cool. I won't be controlling them individually. I'll just be controlling them with a value node like this. Now you can kind of see what we're getting here. right? You kind of get a little bit of a weird thing unless you add your segments, which again, you still get kind of a weird vibe. And the reason you're getting that is because of the side segments here. So let me just look at my topology. Yeah, so we have control over all of these as well. So you can kind of add some fill segments. Let's see. Looks a little bit better. It really depends on what you're going for. Now, you could also go for just that mitered look, which I actually think looks cool. You can make it concave, I believe, by using this, but it's not working right now because of the way that this is set up. So let me do this. Believe we can still make it concave. Doesn't want to do it. That's fine. That's the center of our rim. I'm fine with that for just right now. If you wanted to, you could also take another cylinder and pop it through to get like an internal, or you could cut out the top and bottom faces. So let's just pretend that is the center of the rim. I'm going to call this rim center. Now let's add another cylinder. Now this cylinder is going to be the one that goes on the exterior. So this is going to be the one that's bigger than everything. So let's go ahead and give it a radius that's larger than everything else. And then I'm going to delete the top and bottom faces. So I'm going to go delete geometry. And just to make things easy, I'm going to do this twice. I'm going to plug in the top to our selection, just like that. Doesn't want to let me do it. Hold on. All right, we'll delete the top first. And then this is going to delete the bottom. So now we have deleted the top and bottom, but we need to tell it to only delete the faces. Otherwise, it's going to delete everything. There's our rim. Boom, we've deleted everything we don't need. And now it's time to take this and adjust the size of the rim. And then we can extrude it outwards, but not on all individual faces. So you take this, right? And then first thing you do is go to our side view. Let's adjust our depth. Maybe it'll be like that or something, right, for our rim. And then we can also adjust our radius, but before we do that, let's make sure we can actually see what we're doing here. Now, we don't want to extrude individual faces, but we do want to extrude a little bit on just every single face. There we go. So now we have something like this. Now, you'll notice there's one important thing to note here. You can see that inside we don't have that section anymore. We actually need to rejoin that original section that we've extruded. Now becomes like a new thing. So what we need to do is we need to rejoin it like this, and then we should have that middle section. Cool. So now we have the middle section, the outer section, and now it's time to maybe like bevel that as well. So what I'll do is I will move this over. I'll add a bevel. And now we have this really nice mesh bevel. And this is still like the, inside of the rim. I actually think I'll just make it a little bit thinner too. Something like that maybe looks okay. Yeah, that's fine. It's fine. It's fine. And then I think for this one, I'll just make the offset a little bit different. I just need to drive it with a value node. Now, you don't have to do this, but I'm doing this because I want to control these like individually. I'm sorry, not individually, all at the same time. There we go. That's perfect. Awesome. Looking good. Okay, so now we have the inside of the rim. Now, the harder part will be like the outside, which is going to be the actual like tube of the tire, but you kind of get the idea here. Idea. Did I say idea? I think I did. All right, here's the spokes. I also want to kind of come back here. You can adjust the size of the spokes as well. So that's what I'm doing right now. You can adjust where they start and stop. And then once, even like, let's say you're not happy with that, you can then come back here, right? And you can transform the geometry. And then you can scale it up. Like, I think I might even scale this up on the Z. Yeah, so like now look what we have. That looks kind of cool, right? We don't want to do something like that. It looks kind of interesting. Now we have this like procedural rim generator that we can use, right? So this is kind of like another way to do things in geometry nodes. This isn't necessarily the best way to do it, but it does work. Now you're probably curious, okay, is there like a lot of processing time here? Well, you can actually turn on the timings here and you can see how long each individual node takes to kind of like process in Blender. So you can see like this mesh bevel is pretty heavy. It's taking 13 milliseconds. Whereas like the math and all these ones, I don't even think they're counted at all. Or if they are, they're so small of a fraction of time, it doesn't even matter. Let's see if there's any other heavy things going on here. Yeah, so again, mesh bevel, you can see it's pretty high in terms of like how much processing power it takes up. All right, so our rim's looking good. I think what I'm gonna do next is maybe make the tire, and that'll probably be the hardest part. Let's go ahead and get rid of this. This is all gonna be the, this is basically like the external rim. So I'm just gonna call this external rim piece. I don't know, whatever I wanna call it. So now I have these 3 layers. And just so you guys know, like if you're building this as a product and you want users to have control over like what they see and what they don't see, you can use a geometry switch and you can plug it in here and you can basically allow them to turn this on or off, right? So you can kind of really quickly test things. In fact, I use this all the time. I didn't mean to do that. I use this all the time when I'm modeling things or when I'm using geometry nodes for products. Because in my opinion, it's extremely valuable to quickly turn things on and off. And this is how you would go about doing that. So that's just a little pro tip for you. Okay, let's go ahead and create the tire. So the tire, in my opinion, is probably going to be the hardest part of the whole thing because it's just gonna be like a weird, like kind of abstract shape. And it has a tire wall, it has tread. There's like a lot of things going on with a tire. So let's try it out. I honestly think I might start with a curved circle just because I know I can use a curved circle. Let's join this in. I can use a curved circle to get the profile that I'm looking for the tire because I'll just simply do a curve to mesh. If I can find it, there it is, curve to mesh, and then I'll do another curved circle for the actual like mesh itself for the profile. And then I'll just adjust the radius. Okay, there we go. So now you can kind of see we kind of have like this rough tire shape, right? Now there's a lot to be done here because what I'm thinking is we might be able to convert this to a mesh later. And then, and I also want to make sure I don't shade this smooth because I want to be able to see what's going on here. So yeah, okay, this is exactly what I was thinking. So what I'm thinking I can do is I can bevel this however I want on the top and bottom, and then I can turn it like into more of a tire shape using like subdivision, right? Yeah, geometry nodes is so powerful. It's probably the strongest thing in Blender. Yeah, I would definitely agree with you on that. Now we'll just test this real quick. I'm just gonna do a subdivision surface, not subdivide, different, right? I just want to see what this would look like. Yeah. Okay, so this is interesting because now what you can do is you can crease these edges, right? So I can be like, oh, okay, now this is like looking like a little bit more like a tire, and then maybe I'll transform geometry. And a lot of this is really just me kind of like testing things out until I get something that looks kind of like half decent, right? Because like it's like, okay, that actually kind of looks like a tire. And then we come in here and we scale this in a little bit, and now it's like, oh wait, like that actually looks like a tire. Okay, this is not, we're not doing too terrible here, right? And you can like increase or decrease this. You can mess around with the amount. That actually doesn't look like that bad. And now it's like, okay, do we add tread? Oh, well, we probably should, and we should probably feed the tread from this, right? So I'm gonna reroute this. You guys are gonna like this, I think. We're gonna take all of these things and group them, right? And then what I'm gonna do is output that same circle. So now we have our output right here. This is gonna be fed in for our tread. So I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna convert to points. Is that mesh? No, that's a curve to points. Yep. And then we're gonna take those points and instance on them for our tread shape, whatever our tread shape is gonna be. Okay, so let's do instance on points. And again, we're taking that same circle that we used for the tire, and then we're gonna instance onto that. And then for the instance, I mean, just so we can see if we're even doing this right, I'm just gonna plop a cube on there. Okay, good. So we are doing this correctly, which is awesome. And if I remember, we can plug our rotation. Yep, good. So now what we have, and this is awesome, we can also resample this if we need to have more. Yeah, if we need to have more, perfect. Okay, so if we need to have more, we should be able to, actually we don't need to resample that. I'm sorry, I'm incorrect, it's right here. There we go. So if we need to have more tread, then we can do that. And I'm gonna drive this with a value node. Value, there we go. So now what I can do is I can adjust the size of my threads, right? Now before I do curve to points, I actually do want to transform that geometry, and I want to scale it up by a value because I want the value to reflect like the actual size of what we're doing here, which is going to be the outer part of this. So look, I can scale this up to position these like tread points, right? And then what I'll do is I'll say, okay, you know what? Our cube needs to be smaller, right? And then this is where we get to decide like what does our tread actually look like. And you know what? I should probably just use like combine XYZ here because our Z, let's just make these both one so I can see. Yeah, so this is going to be the overall size, and then this is going to be like the like height, if you will. This is the width. This is like overall size. And this is where you get to start to get into something interesting, because now we can actually like instance on these points and we can create something that looks really nice. That looks good. There we go. So now what we have is we have like quote unquote tread, and then we decide how that tread's going to look. We can instance any object onto this for like tire tread, and it becomes like this thing where it's like you can really create something interesting. What I'm imagining, you guys can imagine this with me if you will. I'm going to join some geometry in here. I'm going to create 2 cubes that are like offset but like rotated. So what I'll do is I'll transform the geometry. I'm going to give these some rotation here. I want them to rotate on the X, I believe. Yeah, I want them to rotate on the X, right? And then I want them to kind of rejoin with themselves again, but this time I want them to rotate a little bit differently. And I want them to rotate this way, but then what I can do is I can like offset them, I believe. Let's see if this works. I don't know if this is going to work or not. We're going to try it though. Okay, and we'll scale this down a little bit too. I don't want it to be too overwhelming here, but we're going to try it. Where is our scale? There we go. I need to push these out a little bit so I can see them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to offset one of these like this, right? And then what I want to do is I think I can mesh bevel too, so we'll try that. We might get something weird with the bevel, but we'll try it out. Yeah, let's do a value. And then this will be our custom value for the offset of the bevel, which we're going to drive, and we're going to make it a really small amount first. Yep, now you can see that small amount right there. It's a little bit better. And you can kind of see how like, okay, now we're starting to get something here. Now we just need to tuck these in a little bit closer, right? And we're probably going to have to bring them up as well. So let me do this. Yeah, we're going to have to bring them up. So I'll just do instance translate instances. Yep, right here. And we'll just bring these up just a little bit on the Y. There we go. Now, this isn't perfect, but this gives us like a starting point. And then I think what we could probably do from here is we could probably remesh this and then like somehow wrap it around our tire. It's just a rough idea, but like it's probably more than likely possible. Oh, also, they don't have to be a perfect like arrow shape like that. We can actually offset them like this if we want to, just to give you like an idea. And if you really want to, you can have even more with like higher tread count. So you can right here, this gives us more tread, right? So now we have like more tread going on. And then if we really want to, you can get fancy here and you can like have them go like that on one, and then on the other, we want to have them go this way, right? So now you have this thing that looks kind of like this, right? So it's cool because then you can like merge this, then you can add the bevel. The bevel's right here, right? So you can add the bevel like you could do, I don't know, something like that. Oh, and then not to mention your segments to smooth it out. Or you could do, I don't know, 0.2, maybe 0.3. Yeah, I mean, this just give you a rough idea of like how you might go about doing this. And then you can come all the way back here and say, oh, you know what? I actually don't like that. I want them to be more like this. Or I want them to be overlapping, right? Or just right. Just gives you like a rough idea on like how you might be able to do that. Yeah, core is coming out. I'm so excited. Again, I'll just drop it in the chat. For those of you guys that really want to learn geometry nodes, because I'm not an expert, if you genuinely want to learn more than what I'm teaching you, absolutely check out the link that I just sent. It's on sale right now. It won't be for much longer. I would definitely check it out. You're getting 11 courses for $150. It's a value that I cannot understate. And yes, I know it sounds like marketing, but I wouldn't suggest it if I didn't think it was incredibly valuable. All right, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna kind of link these now. I'm gonna join these into a group, and this group is gonna be called Tire Tread. And this is just the tread. So if you're wondering, like, did we do it right? This is what I always do to check. I grab myself a geometry switch, and I switch it on and off. And now I know that is the correct thing, right? Now, there is one more thing I want to do. I actually want to smooth my geometry out. I don't know if this is going to work because these instances aren't real. So let's realize these instances. I just want to see if this is going to work. Yeah, so you can smooth out the geometry. That does work. But just be careful because you can get some really weird, wacky results. So just be like really careful with like how you smooth out your geometry. It actually doesn't look that bad though. So that's like, and the cool thing is we can link it all together so that all of these different components work together while we scale this up or down, right? Oh, thank you, thank you. I must be tired after this brainstorming. Oh my God, I'm so tired, bro. So tired. I see what you did there. I see what you did there. This is a procedural tire created entirely in geometry nodes. I'm happy with that. I'm ready to move on to the next idea. So let's go ahead and let's have a vote in the chat. I'm going to set up a new poll right now, and I'm going to say vote on what's next. And we're going to have two options: geometry nodes, procedural modeling, because that seemed to be a fun one. If I can spell it, procedural modeling. There we go. Oh my gosh, I'm struggling here. There we go. All right, procedural modeling, and then we'll do traditional modeling. There we go. Now, I had to delete the G on the first one because it wouldn't let me do a poll that was long enough, like the input. So there you go. Go ahead and vote in the chat, please, guys. And while you're at it, make sure you're subscribed to us. Check us out on Superhive. We have some really cool stuff there. I want to look at the topology here. It's actually like not that terrible. I mean, it's not like good topology, if you will, but if you look, like, I mean, it's not bad. That's all. We did that all with geometry nodes. And now just imagine like you have something where it's like you're adding some displacement to the tires and you have this realistic look. It's so crazy what you can do in Blender, which is, by the way, a free program. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. It's this program called Blender. And it's completely free. So, all right, we only have 10 votes, but guys, we have 62 people watching. Get your votes in so we can decide exactly what it is that you want to see in Blender. And I will open up a brand new document while I'm waiting for you guys to answer. I'm going to give you guys about a minute left to go ahead and work on that. All right. All right, let's see what we got here. All right, we have 11 votes in. Here we go. I believe most people want to do procedural modeling through geometry nodes. Oh, Lord, that's okay. All right, well, drop in the chat what your idea is. It looks like the poll is over, and you guys won. We're going to do some more procedural modeling inside of geometry nodes. So now the question is, what do we want to create, and what can we create with geometry nodes? Well, there's a whole lot. Man, there's so many routes that we could take. A lot of people like car stuff, so we just did like a tire. We could theoretically do like a car like builder, you know, something that like builds a custom car and just like creates random variations of different cars or something like that. But I'm gonna let you guys comment and let me know what it is that you want to see, because man, did we have some amazing suggestions from last time. These were some of the suggestions we had from last time. People even suggested some simulations and things like that. We actually went over this one. That was a tough one. There was a lot of interesting things that we did. But yeah, here was some like inspiration for you guys. But go ahead and drop in the chat what it is that you want to see. All right. Waiting for your responses in the chat. But if you don't respond, that's okay. I will take a look at what we can do here. Yeah, so, you know, I was just thinking, Medusa snake hair? That's crazy. Not impossible, but it's crazy. I was actually thinking of like a keyboard generator. I didn't know what you guys thought about that, but I thought that could be kind of like a cool one, especially considering like we can take a keycap. We can make a procedural keycap, right? So like if I go and I type in keyboard keycap, I'm just gonna find one that I really like. This is perfect. I'm just looking for literally just the image. Perfect. Save image as. We'll save that. And what's really cool is now I can go in Blender, right? And I can go up here and be like, oh, I want the image editor up here. Wherever the heck it is, bro. Image editor. And I'm just going to load up that image that I just downloaded. I feel like keyboard generator could be kind of cool. What do you guys think? Like, I mean, we don't have to do that, but like, that's like the first thing I thought of when I thought, oh, what can we make out of a cube, right? Suggestion. Can you create a bottle with liquid in it that stays leveled whenever it's rotated, like the one in the GTA 6 video? Oh, yeah, I mean, we can definitely do that. I can write that down as an idea. Here, I'll start a new idea list. Bottle with liquid that stays level. We actually have a full tutorial on that, believe it or not. But I'll go over it again. Maybe we can do a better version of it. Have you used the new list nodes? What do you like of them? No, I have not used them. Sorry. Interlocking knit fabric. That's actually easier than you might think. Pendulum clock. Pair of glasses. All right, these are some great suggestions. All right, good suggestions, guys. Tell you what, we'll do real quick, just like a procedural keycap, that's it. And then we'll get into like some of these other suggestions because there's some really good ideas. And some of these, if not all of them, we can create with geometry nodes. So let's go ahead and do keycap real quick. Now in a keycap, I would say we always start with a cube. Now you can start with the cube you already have, but I'm gonna do it all procedurally, so like in completely node based. One of the first things I'm gonna do is I'm gonna scale some elements here. I wanna scale the top face. So the way we would get the top face is we would take the selection of it. So I would do an index. An index is going to tell us like which face it is, and then I would say is equal to whatever. And then we just kind of shuffle through until we find the right one. So I'll just shuffle through. There it is. So there's the right one. So our index 2 is the top face, right? And then what's cool about this is we can take the Z and we can kind of shrink it down. Now, another thing I think I want to do, and I'll have to go into wireframe mode to see if this is going to work, I want to subdivide just the top part of this thing because I kind of want to work with it and like shrink it down, if you will, and see if that might work. So let's try that out. Let's do subdivide mesh. Now, right now, it's going to subdivide the whole thing, but maybe I just want to subdivide a specific part. So I think we can do this. I think we can do subdivision surface. Is it not going to let me just... Oh, it won't let me do it. I really thought you could do that. Okay, I thought you could take that specific section and subdivide it. All right, well, in that case, I don't know. I don't know what I was going to do after that. I was going to do a bevel, but so we can add the bevel. Mesh bevel, and then we'll do a few segments here. Make it really small. We'll do a value node. But don't worry, I promise I will get to your guys' suggestions. In fact, I'm super excited to get to the liquid one because that's something that I actually don't think will be as difficult as you might think. I also do notice this is actually slightly longer, so we'll go ahead and do something like that. Okay. Now at the bottom, it has this weird, like, oh, it's hard to explain. It's like this, it like comes down from the bottom. So actually, almost before I bevel this, hold on. Before I bevel this, I actually want to extrude the bottom. Extrude mesh. Hold up. We'll come back to the bevel. Oops. You know what? I want to do this. Yeah. So we want to extrude the bottom of this. So we want to do the same thing here. We want to take the index and we want to figure out, okay, which part do we want to extrude? In my case, I actually think is it 1 or 0? Oh, it is 0. Yeah, okay, 0. And then what I want to do is just extrude it just by a little bit because you can see like it comes down a little bit. And then I believe if we feed this in here, we should be good. Yeah, so now we have that really nice shape. And you can see how we're kind of like procedurally modeling this, if you will. But we need to kind of push the top down. There's a whole lot of ways I can think to do this. Let me show you the first way that I actually think is the simplest. I actually think, let me just join this so we can see it. If we take a cylinder, I think we can just cut right into the top of this. Let's see if it works. I don't know that it will, but we're going to try it. Let me adjust the radius and the depth. And we're going to actually transform this geometry. If this works, though, I'll be pretty happy because I think I have the idea in my head. I want to flip it. I want it to cut across the whole thing. So we're going to do something like this. Cut across the whole thing. And then we want to move it upwards, right? We want it to go up. So we'll translate it up and decide like where it should cut in. I feel like that'll work. And then I think if we increase the resolution on both sides, probably do 10 and 10. I'm tempted to say this could work. Now, instead of joining, we obviously want to do a mesh boolean. So we'll do a mesh boolean. And in this case, we want the difference. And we want the difference of our cylinder. So let's take that. And there it is. And then we can just take our cylinder and we can scale it down a little bit, right? So we can be like, actually, let me do this. Yeah, we can scale it down a little bit. And as you can see, like that actually kind of works. Let me actually bring this down a little bit. That's like kind of close to it. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then I believe we can just feed this directly into our mesh boolean. I'm not sure exactly how it'll work with the edge. Yeah, I thought we might get some issues with the edge. So the amount that we give it is going to determine if we get that weird like clipping issue. So we can just give it like slightly less. And then here's where the real magic comes in. I think we can just do a smooth geometry. And the smooth geometry takes the position and it gives it a blur attribute. Now we're getting something weird here, and I'm not exactly sure why, so let me just see something. Save this. It doesn't need to be exact float. Nah, it seems to still work in an okay way. I'm not 100% sure while we're getting that, so I'm just going to do shade smooth for now. Okay, there we go. Still getting some weird issues here. Is it with the bevel? We'll have to look into that. But that's like the rough way that I might go about making a keycap. Obviously, it's not perfect. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it gives you an idea of like how we might go about it. All right. I won't spend too much more time on that because you guys had so many amazing suggestions. So I want to take a look at your suggestions. Let's go ahead and go through them. Oops. All right, here was the first one. Was this the first one? I think it was. The bottle with a liquid that stays level. Oh no, was it something before that? Oh yeah, this was the first one. Okay, so this is an interesting one because, oh man, there's a lot to think about with this one. All right, I'll show you the original way that I've done this before. And you'll probably laugh, but like it's a really interesting way to do it. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, no problem. No, I don't mind. I don't mind. Oh, a pair of glasses. Did I say that? Yeah, I already did say that. Car light. Maybe other viewers will be like, previously the headlight used to determine which car. Now, excuse me, now everyone started just using narrow with white headlights. Already excited about 5.2 coming for 3.6. So much has changed. Oh man, yeah, you are way behind, my friend. 3. I mean, look, there's nothing wrong with using an old Blender version, but there's so much to offer in these newer versions. You are the best. Oh, thank you, man. I really appreciate that. Thank you. I've always wondered if I can make a mini game with geometry nodes, for example, chicken invaders. You'd be more likely to make that with like a particle simulator with like flocking mechanisms, and there's different ways that you can use voids, which is something that maybe we'll go over in this live stream. But anyway, all right, so we need a bottle. So let's go ahead and delete this and make a bottle. Now for the bottle, I'll just take, the top face, I'll delete it, and then I'll just do a little solidify action here. So there's our really, really rudimentary basic bottle, right? And I'll just convert this to a mesh just so we have the mesh. All right, so we have our bottle. We need a liquid, so let's go ahead and get a liquid. We'll just do another cylinder. We'll tap into edit mode, scale it down. We'll go to x-ray mode. Now I want my liquid to sit like towards the bottom here. Something like that's fine, right? So there's our liquid, right? Now it's up to us to figure out, okay, so how can we make this liquid stay level inside the bottle? There's limits to this, right? Because one, we're not gonna be able to have the bottle actually have the liquid spill out, but we can do this in a way that is like just involves modifiers, and I've done this before and it's actually really interesting. So as long as you guys pay close attention, you should be able to also replicate this. So I'm actually gonna fill this up pretty high, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a cube, okay? This is where the magic comes in. Our cube is going to be the thing, okay? Our cube is going to be the thing that keeps this flat. So what we want to do is take our top face, bring it all the way up pretty high. Now we have something that looks like this, right? We have our cube, and these are our other objects. Our cube is going to cut into our second cylinder. But before we do that, I'm going to parent this. So I'm going to take our middle cylinder. This is the liquid. I'm going to parent it to the top object. So now when we move this, the liquid moves with it. And then I take our liquid, I do a Boolean, okay? Now for our Boolean object, we want a difference operator with our cube. So now if I rotate this, you guys see what happens? Now when I rotate this, notice how the Boolean basically continues to cut this. So it'll be easier to see in X-ray mode. It continues to cut this. So I don't know if you guys see that or not. Notice how when I rotate this, the whole liquid always gets cut at that exact level. This is like the start of kind of like the effect, if you will, right? But there's more we can do, right? We can obviously smooth this out. This is one way to do it. We can smooth this out. So I'll try that as well, and then I'll show you guys how you can get some like actual like fake liquid on the top of it. It's pretty cool. Let's do a smooth modifier. Repeat it a few times. Oh, you know what? We do need a bevel. Let's see, bevel. Yeah, there we go. Let's see if this works even better. Again, it's all based around this rotation. Yeah, see how you can see the liquid moving? I don't know if you guys can see that. Can you see that? Yes, you can. Here, I'll go into rendered mode real quick and show you in cycles. We'll give this glass. And then the inside liquid is going to be, I don't know. We'll just make it like something that's just blue so you can just like see what it looks like. And I'm going to raise this up. There you go. It's probably a little easier to see now, right? Yeah, there we go. So when we rotate the glass, you can see inside the glass, and you can see the liquid inside, and you can see it's remaining level as we rotate the glass. So this is like one way to do it, but then like people are also like, okay, that's cool, but then how do I get like some actual like displacement on the top? Okay, well, I'll show you. We're gonna take our cube. We're gonna press A in edit mode and subdivide it a few times. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to give this a displacement modifier. And we're going to create a new modifier with a clouds type displacement. Okay. And what we're going to do is save this again, just so we have it, we don't crash here. And then I'll go ahead and give this lower strength a little bit. I will subdivide it, shade it smooth, and hide it. And now we have this, right? We have our liquid that's still getting our weird like displacement, but now it's getting displacement and it's still maintaining that that like upright position. So that's one way to do it. And then you're probably thinking, okay, that's cool, but it doesn't move. So if we wanted it to move, we could simply animate this offset with coordinates of an object. And then for the object, I'll just do like an empty arrows or plain axis. I'll go ahead and click on this, and then for our, where is it? For our cube, we'll go ahead and select this. Now when we move this, notice how we can move the water as well, right? So I could rotate this, whatever I want to. I'll just insert a keyframe here. I'll go to frame 48 or so, and I'll just move this, press I. Now if we press play, we're getting something that looks like this. But what's cool is if I'm also rotating this, it doesn't matter, right? It's still gonna react with the Boolean. There's only one issue. When you turn it all the way, you're not going to have the water spill out because these are just shapes, right? But it gives you like an idea of like how to think about cutting into it, right? Maybe copy rotation with a low influence. You could, yeah, you can do that, and then it'll kind of like adjust slower. You can do that. Are you talking about a constraint? You can do that with a constraint. But that's how I'll go about doing that. There's actually a full tutorial that has like, I think it has like over 100,000 views on our channel on how to do that. So if you want to, you can check that out. All right, next question. Here we go. Ooh, interlocking knit fabric. Oh man, this is a good one. All right, so you guys really want to see the interlocking knit fabric? Tell you what, man, did you pick a really cool idea. You know why you picked a cool idea? Because I've already done it, and I know how to do it. And I've seen how other people do it too. So I'm going to show you how I would do this completely from scratch using none other than the almighty powerful geometry nodes. So let's check it out. Let's make a new geometry node setup. Now we want a fabric, so let's start with cloth dynamics. We've covered this in past live streams. So let's go ahead and get a grid. Now a grid is really just a plane, and we can subdivide it as many times as we want. Now in our case, I want the plane to be a little bit larger. I'll have a 5x5 plane. Maybe actually a 3x3. We'll do a 3x3 plane with a value plugged into our vertices. Now the value is basically the amount of subdivisions. So the more that I have, the greater the subdivisions, right? Now you'll notice we really shouldn't be using a value. We really should just be using an integer. Yeah, we should be using an integer because you can't have like 5.2 vertices. It doesn't really work like that. But when we use an integer, we can plug this in as follows, and now we have our grid. This grid is going to be used for simulation. So I'm just going to save this real quick. I'm going to say cloth sim fabric so you guys can kind of see what this is going to look like. Now, again, right now this is just a cloth. It's just like a bare plane. So how can we actually like make this react like a cloth? Well, it's really simple actually. We just add in our cloth dynamics and it's already a cloth. If I press play, this is going to react like a physics object. Notice how it falls down. That's because it's reacting like an actual physics object right now. So if I want to, I can add a collider. So I'll just add in a UV sphere, just for example. We'll bring this below so that it can react to our cloth. Now, if I press play, it's going to go right through the cloth. And that's okay because we haven't set up the proper settings yet. We need to click on our UV sphere, and we need to add what is called a collider to our sphere. Now, if we press play, it still doesn't work. And that's okay because there's just one more setting. We have to go to our cloth physics here, go to our effectors, and we have to tell it where to look for our effectors. Now when I press play, now we have cloth. So this is really powerful because we have an actual cloth, right? And I'll just go back to like frame 50 so you can see this. So we have an actual cloth physics in Blender, but it's not just in Blender, it's using geometry nodes. So now we can completely control every single aspect of this cloth simulation. This is, I don't think people realize how powerful this is. This is like, we're like lucky to have this. This is the kind of stuff that you might see in like other big programs, right? But this, now that we have access to this, we can do a lot of things with it. Now right now it's just falling on the sphere, which is really cool. But now we can do some really interesting stuff, right? We have our cloth, which is awesome. I actually don't want it to fall on the sphere. In fact, I don't even want it to have gravity at all. Now, if I turn gravity off and I press play, nothing will happen, which is good because I don't want it to happen. You know why? Because we have something really magical here, and this is an effector. We can add a custom force field to our effector. So let's do that first, and then we'll do our whole instancing with the threads. So here's our custom force field. Excuse me. I'm going to sneeze, I think. Bless me. Thank you. All right, so what I'll do is I'll add a force of 1 on the X, and you'll watch as it moves that way, which is pretty cool. So we can make it move any direction we want. But you know what? I don't want it to just move in one direction. I want it to move like it's in like a turbulent force field. So let's add our noise texture in here. Let's press play. Ooh, what are we getting here? Now we're getting something interesting. And if I uncheck normalize and I press play, now we're getting this interesting cloth movement based on our noise texture. So we actually just created a custom turbulent force field with a noise texture, right? And this is, again, this is like just like the tip of the iceberg here, right? So if we want it to be stronger, we can do a vector scale. So we can scale this up by like 3. And now it's gonna be a lot stronger. It's gonna really move that cloth around. And if you want your cloth to have a higher density and thus a higher simulation, like detail, I can bump this up to 150. I always go back before I press play. Now look what we have. We have something that's really dynamic, that's reacting to our noise texture, and this is where you really get into like holy crap, there's a lot I can do with this, right? And this is just a mesh plane plugged into a cloth dynamics. Look, we've only used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 nodes. Is that 6? Yeah, we've only used 6 nodes. And again, this is just tip of the iceberg, right? You can also add in here a subdivision surface, and you can make your cloth, well, guess what? You can make it even more detailed with just a subdivision surface. And if you want to just like turn this off, you can turn it off, and you can preview this very quickly with geometry nodes. Now, I don't want to do a subdiv. I actually want to use all of these points, and I want to instance onto these points, right? But what do I want to instance? This is where you get creative. So this is where you gotta decide, okay, what is the thing that I want to instance on these points? Well, you could do, like I said, in my opinion, you could do a curve arc, or just an arc rather. So I'm going to go ahead and place this. All right. Now it's going to look really weird at first. We're going to go ahead and dumb this down to like 5 for the resolution. And we're going to dumb down our radius as well. Let me just show you what the arc looks like so it can make more sense. An arc is basically going to be like a half circle. And you can decide how much the half circle like sweeps around. So if you want it to look like interweaving like fabric, you can kind of do that. Like you could just do a circle, right? You could, or you could do like a half a circle. And of course, we're going to have to give that arc some kind of mesh. So we're going to eventually have to realize all these instances, or maybe we don't have to. Maybe we can just do curve to mesh right here. And we can do a curve circle for our, just for our profile. Let's go ahead and save this. There we go. So now you can see we have a curved profile, right? And then this is the part where you get to like really have the magic come in here, right? We can do radius. We can do, I think for this one, I might even do 15 for our radius. Now you can start to see, okay, wait a second. What's happening here? Oh, we have like kind of like a fabric mesh here. It's not quite high density enough. You know what? Let's go back and let's make it higher density. Maybe we want this to be 300, right? And then now we decide, okay, well, we're going to need some thinner fibers. So now we do 0.3, right? Now you have this thing that looks like this. And then you know what you got to do next? You're going to have to probably make it even thinner. Yeah, there we go. But notice how they're kind of all overlapped on top of each other. I'm going to give them some random rotation. Rotate instances. Oh my gosh. Rotate instances. There we go. We'll do rotate instances by just a very, very small fraction. So we'll do like random value here. And we'll plug it into our rotation. And we'll just do like 0.002 or maybe 0.1 maybe even. Yeah, so that gives them like some very random variation, right? And then I actually think our radius needs to be even smaller as well. Yep. Now let's press play and let's see what we get. So now we have our cloth moving. But then if we like zoom in, it's almost like this fabric knit mesh. And then it's just up to you to decide like how you want to rotate these things and like how you want them to connect together. But it's all procedural. So I can come in here and I can be like, you know what, I actually want a full 360 rotation here. And I want there to be even more of a greater chance of these being like rotated. Now look at that, right? Now you have something really interesting. And then when you go into like your rendered view, and you add like an area light, just for an example, now you have this like kind of like fabric knit mesh type of thing going on. It doesn't have to be exactly like this, but this gives you an idea of like how you might go about doing it. A lot of the stuff that I do that people see, like the final result, it takes hours and hours of like experimenting. So, but this gives you kind of like an idea of like how you might go about it. And then you're like, oh, it's not quite like detailed enough. Well, okay, like raise the detail, right? And then you kind of mess with these settings and you figure out, well, okay, maybe every single circle shouldn't be the same size. Well, then you scale the instances randomly. Yet again, you come here with a random value and you scale them. And now in this case, you want to be careful because from 0 to 1 is probably too much. You might want to do like 0.7 to 1, right? You don't want to have too much range because you don't want them to be ridiculously like undersized. But you can adjust these things, right? And then if the density is still not high enough, you can increase it even more. But this gives you like a very rough idea of like how you would go about doing something like this, okay? All right, next idea. Here we go. Let's take our next idea for the live stream. Pendulum clock and pair of glasses. Is there any other ones that came in through the chat? Just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. There's no coffee left. Spaceship. Looks kind of like chainmail. Yeah, I mean, so that's the thing is you can make it even more realistic if you want to. And you can add fibers, things like that, right? All right, so we want a pendulum. What did he say? Was it pendulum clock or was it just like a pendulum in general? Or I missed where oh, could I add? Oh, it's pendulum clock. Okay, so let me look up pendulum clock. Oh, very cool. Oh, yeah. Okay, so let me find one that I think I really like. Oh, they're all so interesting. I mean, so a pendulum, you can use the hinge constraint to actually get a real working pendulum, like that actually swings. So let me show you kind of like how you would go about doing that. I'm going to add a cylinder. I'm just going to rotate it. I am going to bring it up. There we go. Scale it. This will be like the bottom of the pendulum, if you will. Okay. Let me just do this. Should be pretty simple. All right, so there's your like basic pendulum, if you will. But then you have to decide like where it gets rotated by. So I'm gonna go ahead and make our origin, our 3D cursor. So now when we rotate it, it'll kind of like go like that. And then there's a couple more things we can do. So if we want to add physics to this, we can add a rigid body to this. It'll just kind of fall, right? But I actually want this to have some rigid body constraints. So let's add a rigid body constraint type hinge. When we press play, nothing happens because we have to select our object, first object, second object. And then we also want to, I'm gonna go ahead and bring this up, rotate it, and it didn't work. Why did it not work? Hold on. Oh, you know why? Because I have to do I have to do passive? I forget. Passive, now mash, yep. Hinge collision, yeah. Oh, because this guy does not have a rigid body. Believe that's why. Yep, I'm almost positive that that's why. Let's see if that works. Should be working right now. Active, yep. Passive. I don't know why it's not working. That's really strange, and it should be working. Oh, here, hold on a sec. Try this. Back. That is really strange. I've literally never had that happen. This is embarrassing. Rigid body. Yup. Rigid body constraint. I want type hinge. Not sure why it doesn't want to work. Literally done this a million times. I'm not sure why it's not working. I'm sorry, guys. I mean, that's... So you can animate this by hand. I will tell you that. I'm not 100% sure why it doesn't want to work with the hinge for me right here. Let me see something real quick, because I literally recorded an entire tutorial on this. Where is it? Where is it? Soft body physics now. We're doing rigid body constraints. It's in here somewhere. Constraints. Is it this one? I think it might be. Here we go. Okay, so let's turn on our hinge, which is right there. Okay, here we go. Just want to make sure. There it is. All right, sorry about that, guys. I'm not sure why that wasn't working. I guess I just had it set up incorrectly. There we go. All right, so this is how you would go about making a pendulum. You would do the exact same thing I just did, but you would make this active. You would give the hinge constraint to the actual hinge, and then you would select both. So let's try this one more time. That needs to be passive. That needs to be active. Okay, I think I got it. Let's do this. And did I save that? I don't think I did. That's okay. All right, so you add your cylinder, right? Rotate it, move this up. This becomes an active rigid body. Perfect. This becomes a passive rigid body because we want it to stay fixed. And then we add our rigid body constraint. This guy's first, that guy's second. If we press play, it does nothing. That's good. That's what we want. But if I press play now, it still doesn't do anything. Why? This will be first, that'll be second. Bro, are you kidding me? Oh, I have the wrong... Oh my gosh, bro. I had the wrong type setup. Hold on. Cylinder and hinge. Oh! That is embarrassing. Oh my god, look at that. Look at that. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Oh my gosh, bro. That's... Blender said, bro, you're embarrassing me. Quit and never come back. All right, we're going to try it one more time. I'm just going to do it with a cube because this is annoying. All right, we'll do rigid body type passive, rigid body type active, and then we'll give this a rigid body constraint type hinge, and then we'll choose both of these. I don't think the order matters. This has been like a heavily discussed topic, and it's still not working. Why? Hinge? Bro, what? I know, that is an F. That is the weirdest thing. I've literally never had this happen. Ever. Yup, convex hull, whatever. It doesn't really matter because it's a hinge. Never in my life, bro. I like don't know what I'm setting up wrong. I've done this like a million times. Yep, rigid body, passive, hinge, enabled, yup, and active. I'm gonna you know what? I'm gonna copy these into a new project. I just want to see if they work at all. Where are they? Yeah. Bro, what? We did the exact same thing. What? What? All right, so this is funny because I kind of want to point this out. I've had this happen in Blender before where like I do the exact same thing that I've done. It's so frustrating because I'm sure you guys have been there and you're like, why isn't this working? Like I've literally set this up the exact same way that it's supposed to be set up. I don't know. I really don't know. I did the exact same settings. The shape shouldn't matter. The origin shouldn't matter. In fact, they're not even perfectly centered in this. All right, let me just double check. So our box is active. This is passive with a hinge. Maybe I didn't have it innate. Oh, I don't know what just happened there, bro. All right, Blender is blendering. We're skipping this topic, but this is how I would go about a pendulum. I would use a hinge constraint with rigid body physics. Yo, this is so annoying because this is literally, I literally covered this like pretty decently in depth, and it works pretty much every time. I almost want to try one more time. Hold on, I'm like angry. I'm a little angry at Blender right now. All right, let's see. So again, rigid body active. We'll change it to box. Doesn't even matter. Rigid body passive, right? Rigid body constraint type is going to be hinge. Everything's set up. Boom, boom. We press play. Nothing happens. That's fine. Bring it over here. What? What? Bro. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding? Are you actually kidding me right now, bro? Are you actually kidding me? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. All right, you know what? We're doing a different one. We're doing a different one because I'm not doing it right now. I'm not doing it with you, Blender. Not happening, bro. Okay, we're coming back. We're going to go ahead and do the next one. All right, let's get some new ideas on the board. These are good, but they're kind of like very vague. So let's go ahead and we're going to start a Q&A. Or not start a Q&A. We're going to do a poll. Choose glasses or... actually, you know what? Let's do this. Modeling. And then we'll do geonodes. And then maybe we'll do another one. Let's do shaders. Yeah, let's try that. I'll let you guys decide. And while you're deciding, we will be right back. There we go. I can't believe, like, I can't believe that Blender wasn't blendering, bro. It wasn't blendering. Why? Oh, man, that was a fun one. Was that? What was that one? I don't know what that one was. We did a lot. We've been doing a lot on the live stream. A lot of fun stuff. All right, we're getting some votes coming in. Oh, I remember we did this, bro. This one was crazy. This was all geometry nodes, actually. This furry tail thing. Remember someone asked me to do this one. Was this? I don't remember. Did we ever finish this one? I think we kind of did. Bro, this one was crazy, bro. Wasn't that complex of like a setup, but there it is. All right, so let's see. Blender's too open of a software. You need to summon the power of the default cube, probably. Blender is not in the mood today, bro. I know. All right, guys, give me 2 minutes. I'll be right back. Quick bathroom break. I'll be back, and we'll hop right back into Blender. Comment your suggestions below, and make sure you vote. Alrighty. Okay, where do we leave off here? Oh, wow. Oh, okay, so everybody wants to do geometry nodes. All right, good to know. All right, we'll do geometry nodes. You said what is the best what is the best practices and workflows would you say are the biggest pitfalls to avoid when learning Blender? Don't get like too caught up on being an expert, I would say. Like, everybody wants to be an expert in Blender at everything, and I think it's just impossible to master like every single aspect of Blender. But I would say like get really good at like everything. Don't just don't focus in on one thing, because the more aspects you understand, like the more they can work together to create a better result. So for example, you can go to your modeling tab, right? You can get really good at modeling things with like a cube to start out with, right? But then it's like, okay, we have our cube, right? Maybe we take a face, we extrude it, we scale it, we extrude it, we scale it, whatever. And then we go and we learn about modifiers. Oh, we add a bevel, right? We add some segments. Wait, why does it look weird? Well, because you have to know to shade smooth. Well, wait a second, why can't I see the material? Well, you have to know the difference between all the rendering properties and like solid view versus wireframe versus material preview. Well, why can't I see a material? Well, you have to create one, right? There's these different aspects that work together. So I would say don't get caught up on just one. Like, try to like dive into each one and learn, rather than like the pitfall would probably be spending way too much time trying to like master one at a time. Like me, I'm the type to like bounce around anyway, but because of that, I learned how they're all like interconnected, right? Like for example, if I get rid of this bevel and I'm in solid view, well, why does this look weird? Well, I know it looks weird because when you shade smooth without like the proper topology, you get a weird result. If you shade auto smooth, it looks at a different angle for the smooth shading. And then you go to your materials, right? And you add a material and you make it pink. Well, why doesn't it look like an object? Well, you don't have any light on your scene, right? So it's like you learn how all these things are connected and how the program works, and then you can figure out what to do about it. I know that was probably a bad explanation, but that's what I would say. How about a lava lamp? Oh, that's an interesting one. How to optimize my Blender to basically not interact with the internet at all. Oh, you've had to. Yeah, and you can do that. We actually built a lava lamp before. Exploding the building, rigid body dynamics. So far, we have not had the best of luck with rigid body dynamics, which is ironic. Fireworks using particles. That's easy. Well, not easy if you don't know what you're doing, but I do, so I think it would be relatively easy. Suggestion, do a color-coded digital countdown timer. Color-coded digital countdown timer. Okay. And that was in GeoNodes, sorry. Futuristic guitar. Newton's cradle. Force field. Water simulation. All right. Well, first of all, geometry nodes 1. So let's just start with that. So now it's up to us to decide like which one of these we want to tackle first. My goal is to try to tackle them all in their own way. We already did lava lamp, so I'm actually going to get rid of that one. Sorry. Let's see. Guitar would be modeling, so I'll just put that under modeling. Newton's cradle is physics. These are modeling. All right, I think we got some good categories here. These are all physics. Really, fireworks is too. All right, let's do the fireworks one real quick because that one's pretty easy. So if you want to just make a quick burst of something in Blender, the way you would do it is you would add, and this pretty much works for any object, but in our case, I'm going to add a mesh circle. Yep, let me do this. So I want to do a mesh circle because a firework kind of like like it's a quick explosion of particles. I'll add a particle emitter. You'll see that it's just going to emit from the center. I want the source to be the vertices. So now they're going to come out of the vertices. For the frame start and end, I want it to be the same because I just want them to all shoot out at once. Let me also go back to layout. So now we're going to see something like this, right? They all kind of shoot out at once. So they're all coming out all at once. I don't want there to be any gravity, so I'm actually going to go to my particle emitter. I'm going to go to field weights and turn off gravity. So now they just kind of like emit outwards, right? Which is what they should be doing. Obviously, we're probably going to want more than we have right now. Now, in terms of vertices, I think we can do volume instead, or not volume. Can we do faces? We don't have faces. So I'll just do vertices. Why can't we get more? Oh, because there's only a certain amount of vertices. Let me go into edit mode, subdivide. I'm just going to subdivide a bunch because I want a lot of particles. So now it's going to look like that, right? And they're all going to go out all at once. But we want them to have different speeds. So I'll do velocity randomize. Now we have a random velocity. Let's do randomize just 1. There we go. And then for the, hold on a second. Looking to see. For the normal velocity, I'll do 5. I just want to see what this looks like. All right. All right. Awesome. All right. So now what we want to do is we want to have them kind of spread out in an interesting way. So I think I might add some turbulence here. And I'll add turbulence in the shape of a plane. And then I'll rotate this. I just want to see. All right. And then for our turbulence, we'll do 10. Just want to see what this looks like. Cool. We're getting an interesting thing going here. Awesome. And then what I want to do is I want to actually raise my lifetime, or my start and end. We'll do 5, 1 to 5. Yep. Just want to see how this is looking. Awesome. And then I'm going to unsubdivide this just a little bit because I think I subdivided it a little bit too much. Subdivide. Yeah. See what this looks like. Awesome. Cool. Okay, starting to look good. All right, and then what I'm going to do next, so you can see we're kind of starting to get something interesting here. Would it be possible to simulate actual projectiles that burst after a certain time? Yes, you could do that with geometry nodes, actually. After a certain, you could compare the scene time, and if it's greater than a certain amount in frames, then you have something happen to your geometry. Yeah, you can do that. All right, so what was I doing here? Oh, yeah, randomizing. Let me do 3. There we go. Now you're starting to get something interesting here. I still think the normal needs to be higher, like 15. Right? Yeah, I feel like that's a little bit better. And then what you can say is, okay, you know what? I want this to go out to 10. Right? But you want to be careful. You don't want it to be too much. Oh, and then the lifetime. You want the lifetime to be 30. And then the amount doesn't really matter because it's really using the actual like vertices themselves. Now, where you can get interest, this is like one way to do a firework. The other thing I will say though, actually, is the reason it's looking so weird is because we need to scale this in even more. There we go. That's better. Now it's coming more from a central position. This is looking pretty good. Our turbulence doesn't seem to have a crazy effect. So I might type in 1 for flow. Maybe I don't want turbulence. Turbulence can be a little bit funky. For the size, I'm going to choose 1. I just want to see. That's a little bit better. It gives you some more variation. Now, if you want these to like slow down over time, what you can do, if we click on our circle, you can actually add dampening. Where's the damping? Physics. Okay, physics, damp. I'm going to set that to 1. 0.1. Notice how you can kind of have them come out and then stop. Let's do 0.02. See how they kind of slow down? You can decide how much they slow down. A lot of this is like really just experimenting with values, to be honest with you. But you kind of get the idea, like quick burst, right? And it looks really cool. And then of course you can customize this however you like. This is just an idea of like how it might look. Does that kind of answer your question on the fireworks thing? I feel like that's more or less kind of how I'd go about doing it. And then you just study different fireworks, how they move, and you kind of experiment from there. But I think particle physics is definitely the way to go for a firework. I'll save this just in case someone wants it. All right. All right, there's our fireworks. Let's go ahead and start a brand new template. All right, that was the fireworks. That was more or less pretty easy. Water simulation is something I cover in the core fundamentals of physics. So real quick, just a quick shout out. Yes, this is a commercial kind of, but it's okay because it's for the core fundamentals of physics, which is something that I teach. If you scroll down, where is it? Oh, look, there I am right there. Oh, they updated this. This looks great. There I am. Kenny Faze is teaching physics, and I just want to show you this right here. You can see this is one of the things we do. We do a wrecking ball. So for those that are really, really interested in physics, that's right here. This is all the stuff that I teach, and it is quite awesome, I must say. And where are we at? Yeah, it's still on sale, so I would definitely check it out. A lot of people are pre-ordering it. I would get it while it's on sale. Just an idea. You don't have to, but it's there. All right. Now, back to the live stream, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. So, Newton's Cradle is a cool one. Force Field Shimmer Annihilation. I want to see, what is this? Force Field Shimmer? Oh, is it a person? Or is it an effect? Oh my gosh, look at that. It's wild. That might be something to look into. I don't think I've seen Annihilation. I haven't seen this movie. I didn't realize that all these scenes... As I've seen some of the scenes come up, but I didn't realize that was what it was from. All right, let's see. I kind of want to try this one because everyone voted for geometry nodes. All right, color-coded digital countdown. Now, when you say color-coded, what exactly do you mean by that? Because I just want to make sure and clarify that. All right. Now, either way... just to kind of show you string to curves. So I want to show you guys something. This, I don't really use these nodes a lot, but if I type in Kenny, for example, you can basically take a string, which is like, I guess, just like a value, if you will, and you can input that into like a curve simulation, or not curve simulation, like a curve. So you can take text, turn it into like a real object. So like you could theoretically take the frame, which is the scene time, and you have to do string, a value to string. Yeah, so you have to do value to string, and then when you press play, you can see that now you get this, right? And this is a running count of the frames that are in the animation. Now the question is, how do you do a countdown? We're going to need to do some math because right now we have frame 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, blah, blah, blah. So I say we start with a value and we subtract that from, or we subtract the frame from that value. So really, you got to decide what you want to count down from. All right. Now in my case, I think, let's just do a minute timer. Now we can have the user decide what that is. I'll subtract this. So I can be like, what do I want? What do I want it to be? Look, now it's counting down. There's only one problem. We're using the frame. We want seconds. We want a frame or scene. Sorry, scene. What is it? Scene time? Yeah, scene time. Sorry. So we want seconds here. And we'll subtract 1 every second. There we go. So now we have a countdown timer, and that's really all you need for a countdown timer, right? You're basically taking your scene time. You're saying, okay, every second that passes, I want you to subtract that second from the value that we give you. So if I want to start with 100, we can count down from 100, right? And I can say 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's going to subtract that. You can obviously do the reverse and count up, whatever you want, really. I mean, it starts, for example, with green, yellow, red when it's near 0. Oh, it changes based. Oh, okay. So, yeah, I think we can do that. I have an idea. Hold on. Well, first of all, oh, crap. Sorry, guys. I had almond butter on this box of snacks, and it just got all over me. There's no geometry node solution to that. Okay, so right now we have a string to curve. We need to fill this curve because it doesn't have any like thickness. And then we need to set a material. This is where the real magic comes in. We're going to make a new material, and I'm going to assign it right here. I'll go over to shading, Now for the material, this is where it gets interesting. So you said, what does it start with? Green? Maybe green or something. So this is where you can add an attribute in here. And you can basically plug this into a hue saturation value, right? Maybe we'll just start with green. And this will be plugged into the hue. So the hue can change over time based on the value. So let's go over here. Let's do store named attribute. Yep. And then what we'll do is we'll change the color of that. And the color, oh, well, we need to name the attribute. We'll call it color dash changer. Okay. We'll go back to shading. We'll do color dash changer. Okay. And now we know it's linked because, look, we can change it right here. But in this case, I actually want to do a float. And now, look, we can change the value by changing, well, the value. All right, and then what I'll do is I will just basically take this math multiply, and I'll multiply it by a very small number. How about 0.1? Let's see if it even works at all. Yeah, look, it's changing with time. So what's really cool about this is now we have a countdown timer that's changing. But you know what? Maybe I want it to be even slower, 0.01. Now I can scrub through this and see how slowly it goes. I think let's do 60 for the time. All right, you know what? Let's do 10. What's 10 times 6? It's 60, right? I want 10 seconds, and I want 600 seconds. Maybe we'll do. Let's do 5 seconds. So we'll do 5 times 30. Are we running at 30 FPS? Let's double check. No, we're not. Now we are. 3, 2, 1. Wait, 5. Oh, it did not do that. That should be 150. There we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, let's do, I don't know, 0.5. Let's do 0.25 for the shift change. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Still seems a little bit fast. Maybe 0.1. That's how you would do it. So this is how I would go about doing it. Yeah, GeoNode's attributes to shaders is where the fun really begins. Yeah, so like this is a super powerful. Oh my god, I can't even speak. This is a super powerful approach because now we can like completely customize this based on what we want. There you go. There's your countdown timer that changes color. With geometry nodes, there's the nodes right there, so you can see it. Okay. And then here's the shader setup right here. Pretty cool. That's a fun little one. All right, next up we have what do I want to do next? I'll show you how to do a water simulation. Water simulation is actually really easy. You add a cube, you go to object, you go to quick effects, quick liquid, you press play, and that's your water simulation. It really is genuinely that easy. The hard part is when you want to make it look cool, right? Like this is just the default setup. So with the default setup, what we have is we have a liquid domain. This is where the simulation takes place. I'm going to switch the type to all. So now we have a couple of things to look at here. We have an orange cube in the middle. Now that cube is our liquid itself that's dropping as a geometry. We have our domain, which is where the simulation takes place. And then we have the resolution, which is this little box. That's how big the like voxels are in the simulation. So like the smaller that is, the higher quality. Right now we're set to 32. If we set it to 50, you'll see that box just shrunk down. So now it's gonna be higher quality. Now, if we want to, we can bake this. So I'll just bake this out to frame 60 and you'll see what it looks like. Now what's gonna happen is the cube is going to fall. It's just like a cube of liquid and it just falls. But if we want it to like flow out like a faucet, we have to change the flow type. So right now we have the simulation, right? It looks cool. We're in wireframe, but if we look, this is what it looks like. So now I'll set our end frame to 60 so we can loop this. So it's just falling and it's turning into a simulation. Pretty easy, right? But if we want it to act a little bit differently, what we can do is instead of geometry, this is our flow object, we can do an inflow. All right, I'll scale this down a little bit. And now you're gonna see a little bit of a difference, right? This is gonna actually flow like a liquid as if it was a faucet. So let's click bake. You can see it's working hard here. Now watch. Now it's flowing like a liquid as if it was like a faucet. So now it's behaving differently. Does that make sense? Because we changed it. But that's really all there is to fluid simulations. And then you have effectors, which is, well, I'll go over that real quick because people want to know. So if you want to add an effector, that's also pretty easy. I'm just going to duplicate this cube. I'll just make a little platform for the water to roll off of. Instead of liquid inflow, I'm going to do instead of type bean flow, I'll do effector. And that's really it. And then I just click bake. And now this cube right here is going to act as an effector. And it's going to allow the liquid to hit that cube as if it's like colliding with it. You can see it's baking out right now. What should happen here, if we did everything correctly, is it should hit the cube. There you go. You can see it's hitting the cube, and it's flowing around it. Now, the higher resolution, the more detailed this will become. Like right now, this is a pretty low resolution simulation. So if we really wanted to test this thing, we could do like 150 for our resolution. Now, I've baked simulations all the way out to, oh man, I've used 300, I've used 600 before. It's crazy. Now you can see just how long it's taking to bake, right? So this gives you an idea. The particles are fun and easy. Yes, they are. So I'm really curious to see how this one comes out. You can see it's taking a lot longer. We may not wait for the entire thing because I want to get to the other suggestions in the chat. But I'll tell you what, this is a fun one. All right, let's cancel it. Yeah, here you go. You can see the simulation quality is much better. Now, it's only baked out to a certain amount, but you can just see how much higher the simulation quality is, right? It's kind of colliding. You can see where it's colliding. And look, you can kind of see these like ridges. This has to, again, do with the amount of subdivisions or the resolution that we're using. Yeah. All right. I'm not going to save that. Always like to add my cube back right after I delete it. All right, we're on to the next one. Okay, exploding building. All right, here's how I'll go about that. Let's just say this is our building. Just make it look a little bit more like a building. All right, there's our building, right? And we want to explode this thing. Well, first thing we need to do is give this a lot of subdivisions because we want to be able to break this thing apart. Yeah, what I'll do is I will go up to Object, Quick Effects, Cell Fracture. Just make sure you have Cell Fracture enabled. I'll click on Own Vertices. Let's see, what else did I have? Noise, we'll give it a little bit of noise. I'll just make sure I have all these settings correct. I believe that's it. Yeah. Okay. So now we've broken it apart. And now what we have is we have our original cube, which is right here. But then we have all these broken pieces underneath of it. And we have quite a few of them, right? In fact, we have 81 of them, it looks like. So what I'll do now is I'm going to scale them down just ever so slightly. I'm going to scale them down by their individual origins, just like that. And then I'm going to hide my original cube. I'm going to click on one of these and give it a rigid body physics. If I press play, it falls down. Perfect. Now, I also want to change this to mesh because I want it to inherit the mesh. Shift click all of these, right? We'll go to Object, Rigid Body. We'll do Copy from Active. And now each one of these should have a rigid body. Now, when I press play, they explode everywhere. The reason they explode everywhere, well, there's a couple of reasons. One of the first ones is because their origins need to be reset. So we'll go to Set Origin to Geometry for each one of these. And then the actual way that they're colliding is going to have to do with the margins that we have set on them. Let's take a look at the sensitivity. So our margin set to 0.04. I'm going to do 0.005. Again, pressing A, Object, Rigid Body, Copy from Active. And you can see they still explode. And again, that has to do with the margin. So I think what I'll do is I'll highlight all of them. And I'm going to scale them down a little bit more. That's a little bit better. Let me just see something. Let me see if my original cube has a rigid body. No, it doesn't. Yeah, sometimes you'll get a weird result. This happens. So when things explode, it's usually because of the way the collisions are set up. So I'll try to set it just a little bit lower. But before I do that, let me go to my rigid body world settings and let me add my substeps and solver iterations. I'm going to make higher. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to take these and I'm going to make the collisions even smaller. Let's go Object, Rigid Body, Copy from Active. Man, we're still getting that explosion. Did I bake it? Let's see if I baked it accidentally. Did not. Let's click Bake and see what we get. delete bake. Hold on, we're getting something weird. Something weird is happening here. They're all active, dynamic mesh, sources deform, yes, good. Oh, you know what? We may need to go object apply scale as well. Let's try that. Getting some weird options here. Pakistan? Oh, hey, welcome from Pakistan. Either way, this is how I would go about doing it, but I don't know why they're kind of acting a little bit funky. SD form, sensitivity up, surface response, good. Let me try this. Source, we'll just do final. Object, rigid body. Again, we're gonna copy from active. I'm gonna delete all. I don't know why we're still getting that weird issue. Do you have to link them? No, you don't have to link them. Usually it has to do with a hidden object. Just see something. Yeah, so is there a hidden object in there? Did I? Really strange. Let me move the original one. Usually that's not gonna have anything to do with it. Hold on. Let me add a plane underneath. I want something for these guys to collide on. We'll give it a rigid body type passive. Convex hull is fine. I'll be honest, I'm not sure why they're exploding like that. Usually it has to do with some piece in the center that is pushing them all away. Typically that's the cause. But right now it's not. Kilogram dynamic, yep. Surface response friction. Thank God. Thank God what? I'm so confused. Someone said love you? What? Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. Active, good. Yeah, I'm not sure what's happening. I'll be honest. I don't know why they're exploding. Usually, let me see something. I do have some pieces that are acting a little bit funky in there. Even if I take, oh man, I don't know. They're acting really weird. Let me just see something here. Again, it shouldn't be doing that. Bake all physics. Yeah, it shouldn't be doing that, but that gives you a rough idea. Blender is not wanting to blender for me right now. It really is not. Yeah, I did get the exploding part right, but it's annoying because normally when you it's like there's something in the middle that is blocking them or is like making them all want to go to the external part of the simulation. But in this case, I can't see why they would want to do that because I feel like I set everything up correctly. Only other thing I can think of is margin being 0. I'll try it, like object apply or object rigid body copy from active, and then I'm gonna reset this guy to rigid body type passive. The convex hull is fine. Yeah, no, we're getting some weird simulations here. Come back here, delete the bake. I don't know why I would be doing that. I really don't. It's weird. I mean, it looks cool. Don't get me wrong. But normally when you're doing like destruction, it would just be static. And then, yeah, I know. It's because some people want to be the only one be able to use Blender and get mad when you share the info. Oh my gosh. How did you learn Blender? By any university? No, I taught myself on YouTube. Mainly. And then I just kind of learned by like fiddling with things. All right, we'll come back to that one later. That'll just be embarrassing. All right, Newton's Cradle. So for like a Newton's Cradle animation, yeah, now that is possible. There's a lot of ways you can go about doing that. Can you learn Blender through practice? Oh my God, yeah. Oh my God. Absolutely, you can. Absolutely. All right, let's go ahead and have a vote. A little quick vote to see what you guys want to do next. We're going to do a quick poll. Decide on what we do next. We already did a guitar, actually. I'm sorry. We did do a guitar on a past live stream, so I'm going to nix that one. I'm sorry. I'll tell you what. I'm going to choose a few that I think are interesting. Okay, here we go. Starting the poll. Here we go. Someone said go Eagles. Woo! Oh, someone really wants this pair of glasses. The pair of glasses could be a good one. Oh my god. Oh. Bro. Oh my god. Huh. An AK-47. I'll add it on here. Where did the thing? See, this next one too is also like a shader. Spaceship is winning? I'm surprised. Really, a spaceship? Okay. I really didn't think spaceship was going to even come close, to be honest. There's only been 8 votes. Guys, there's 58 of you watching. Please contribute to the vote. Please. If you're on a phone, it'll be a tap away. If you're on a mouse and keyboard, it is a click away. And if you're on a trackpad, it's a tap away again or a click. I guess depending on your settings. Oh, can you show us how to bend a plane with math nodes and geometry nodes? Yeah. Granule particles. Glass. Oh my gosh, the glasses are making a comeback. Oh, it's kind of a close. I'm gonna let the vote go for a little bit longer because it's kind of a close vote here. I don't know. It's kind of a. This is kind of a close vote, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we're coming down to it. I don't know. Shimmer. We still need some more votes. I'd like to see if we can get to 30 votes. I will make a decision. How about that? Let's see if we can get 30 votes because I want to make sure it's fair for the rest of our audience. I don't want to leave anybody with their suggestions not counting. We got 16 votes right now. Can you give a roadmap to learn Blender? Bro, that is a huge task. We do have a roadmap to learn Blender. I will go ahead and copy and paste the link to that. This is, if you really want to learn Blender, you go to that link. Can you give me a roadmap to learn Blender? That's there. How about official 2026 World Cup football? Oh, that's kind of an interesting concept. We could try something like that. All right, we're coming up on the vote. What do we got? 19 votes. I was still looking for a few more. I'm going to have to end it soon, though, because I think we got to move forward here. Let's learn more about nanotechnology effects making inspired by Iron Man suit. Okay. All right. It looks like Spaceship's going to win unless you guys vote for anything else. All right. So we want to build a spaceship. Okay. It's very general, but I guess we will we'll learn how to make a spaceship. Here we go. Spaceship. I'm like, what kind of spaceship do we like want to build? Like, is there any specific ones you guys had in mind? There's so many types of spaceships. First, figure out what you want to learn and why. Take it step by step. Someone said they really want the sunglasses. Oh my gosh. Spaceship is like, I mean, it is cool, don't get me wrong, but we really do have to get kind of specific about like what we want. I'll look up a reference and see what we get. Spaceships, like I said, it does kind of like depend. I know the sunglasses could be cool too. I was hoping the sunglasses were gonna win actually, but oh, look at this crazy looking thing. That's wild looking. Look at that. Wow, that is cool. Not a spaceship, a space station? Wait, you want a space station, not a spaceship? I thought you guys wanted a spaceship. The Virgin Galactic. that thing's kind of sick, not gonna lie. That thing is what? Is that thing actually go to outer space? No. No way, bro. Does it act? Richard Branson's $600 million space mission? What? Bro, does this thing actually go to outer space? This thing's crazy looking, bro. That's so cool. NASA space shuttle. The Virgin Galactic is kind of cool looking. I don't know. I might do this one. That thing is crazy looking. Let me see if I can get a blueprint, and then we'll get a reference image and all that good stuff. But okay, I feel like this is a pretty good one. All right, should we try? Let's try this one and see what we can do. Go from there, and then I want to get a. I do need this. Yeah, I need this. Okay. This is a cool one though. All right, I'll try it out. Try it out. Oh. Oh, this one was so hype, you said? Or this moment was so hype? Or both? All right, reference image. Okay, cool. All right, let me just go ahead and reset a couple of these. Okay. All right, and 0. Perfect. This guy doesn't really matter as much, but we'll try it. Okay. All right, so we have our references. I'm just going to type in galactic. All right. Wow, to be considered space. Is it a real spaceship? No, I think it's a real. This is a real thing, I think. I'm pretty sure it is. All right, so I'm gonna go to modeling tab here, and I am going to switch my image editor up here to boop, this guy. Let's put this guy up here as a reference. All right, and let's get started. Okay, so what I'm thinking is let me do this. Yeah, what I'm thinking is we'll kind of start with, well, let's first of all, let's try to center this thing, right? Kind of try to center this. Is there a center point? Yeah, I guess there is kind of. Just want to center this as best as I possibly can. That looks good. All right, I'm happy with that. And then I'm going to duplicate this. I am going to flip it. And I want to do this. Yep, okay, perfect. And I'm trying to just get a nice, like, just like a cross section, if you will. All right, that looks pretty good. All right, there's that. There's this guy. We want to bring this down. Okay. All right. I think I'm going to start with I might just start with the wings. All right, no, let's start with the fuselage, like where the pilots would sit and all that stuff. All right, so I have a cube. Oh my God, I have a cube. It's a cube, guys. Can't you tell? It's a cylinder. Go ahead and delete the top face. I always like to start with just kind of like basic, like rudimentary primitives when I'm doing this stuff. And I'm just going to kind of scale this, and I am just really going to go for it with our loops. So I'm going to take each edge loop, I'm going to extrude them like however I see fit. And then we'll probably do like some sort of like subdiv workflow. But you have to be careful because if you really look, there's like a weird thing going on here right before the windows. So I have to check. I actually want to undo this. I have to check where that is happening. I think it's happening right about here. So again, I'm just going to be really, really careful and intentional when I start scaling these things in. And I do want this to be like somewhat like low poly, if you will, because I mean, I want the subdiv to do most of the work, if that makes sense. So we'll just kind of go with it, see how it looks. And then at the end here, we kind of want to fill this in. So I'll do a little bit of face grid fill, and I'm going to adjust the angle. That's fine. We'll come back to that later. All right, that looks good so far. Now let's go ahead and do the back side of it. All right, again, I'm just extruding the edge loops and scaling them. Really nothing crazy here. In fact, this is really like pretty rudimentary. I'm going to grid fill again. I like to adjust it because maybe it's just my OCD, but like I think that looks much better. That looks good. And then I actually want to take the, I'm going to take this edge loop. See if I can take this. Did I take the, oh, it's not going to let me get the whole edge loop. What the heck? That's weird. Thought this was all like one thing. All right, I'm going to separate this. Separate selection. And let's see if I can just use this as this part here. This is like the, I guess the shuttle part of it. I don't know. I feel like that's like what it looks like. I don't know. And then we're going to grid fill both of these sides. We'll do grid fill, UV grid fill, or UV grid fill. Oh my God, face grid fill. There we go. That's fine. Looks good. Slash to zoom in on our piece here. And then again, face and grid fill. And we'll do an offset. That's fine, doesn't matter really. Okay, so we have these two pieces. Let's see what it looks like with our subdiv enabled, and then we'll kind of go from there. All right, do subdivision surface. Okay. So far, not terrible. Looks like there's a little bit more of like a clean transition here. So I'm gonna do something like that. I'm gonna shade everything auto smooth. And let's go ahead and take a look. Now, the interesting thing about this one is it kind of like almost blends into the side of the rest of it. So I'm a little nervous about like that part of it, but we're going to try our absolute best to get it looking good. And it looks like the nose, like, go ahead and turn this layer back on. Yeah, I just want to see if we go into our modeling workflow. Yeah, it does come down. Okay, so like if we go to our like side view and we look, like it looks like you can kind of see like the profile a little bit better. It is actually probably better that we're looking at it in here because yeah, we're gonna have to definitely like adjust some of these things, right? Yeah, okay. And I think I'll probably use proportional editing for some of this. Like for example, if I take this and move it up, right? Or I like rotate it or something. But like what I like about this is we can like zoom in and decide like which parts we want. So we can get like really, really specific. That looks crazy. You get the rough idea though. I do want to take this though, and I want to see something. I'll scale it out. This is interesting. This is where it's going to get tough because I want to make sure I get all of this stuff down. Bro, you ever just hear like a noise in your house and you're like, what, am I like under attack? Like you guys ever hear a noise? No? Okay, just me. Cool, cool, very good. Take this, bring it down. Oh, you know what I can do? For the bottom, because I think the bottom is the flatter part of it. I think for the bottom, I can kind of like scale it all together. So if I do bottom down, this is really hard to do. Turn this overlays off. There we go, much better. So if I do the bottom, like maybe like this part here. Bro, how is that an edge loop? What? A chain whip? Oh, dude, that would be insane. That would be insane. We could try it. We could try it. That would be a tough one now. Selecting the bottom seam here. I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm going to try it. I'm going to do proportional editing here. Yeah, there we go. That worked out a little bit better than I actually thought it was going to. Much better. Okay. All right. And then right here on the edge. Ooh, this is going to be a tough one because like I wanted to originally bevel this and I probably should have. Hold on. I want to do view frame selected. There we go. Because I want to work with just the front nose of this thing. I don't know why, but for some reason it doesn't want me to win today. It's like a little bit better. I shouldn't have You know what I probably shouldn't have done here? I probably shouldn't have grid filled it, because now that it's grid filled, I have to like poke it out a little bit in the center. But I guess I could just take this and do like one of these with like a really, really low, you know what I mean? Like one of these guys. That looks kind of weird, doesn't it? Actually doesn't look that bad, except for, yes, it does. Hold on. Yeah, there we go. All right, let's try it again, but with the center. Looks better. Looks better. There's probably a million ways we could do it. I do think, actually, you know what? I'm not going to do it that way. I know. I'm waiting for the comments. Why would you do it that way? Why? Hold on. Get the front face here. I'm actually going to select everything in here, and I'm just going to do a classic inset and scale. You guys cool with that? Good, because I'm doing it. How about that? Okay, we're going to do delete faces, and we're just going to do the edge loop. And then we're going to extrude on the X, scale, extrude on the X, scale. Much better. And then from here, extrude, scale, or not, extrude, scale. There we go. And then we can grid fill. Face, grid fill. Thoughts? I feel like that looks better, and you're not gonna be able to tell that from a distance. Yeah, I'm happier with that. Okay, good. Happier with that. We're done. Much better. Much better. Much better. We iterate and we iterate and we wait a second. We iterate. Let's add a plane for the wings. I'm gonna make these detached and then just do like a little mirror guy. Perfect. And then I think for the wings, you see something. Yeah, okay, they start here. Oh, the wings are gonna be, this is gonna be an interesting one. All right, let's do this. I mean, let's just kind of, let's scope it out. Let's do this. Let's subdivide. All right, let's just start placing things where we think they go. It's gonna be an interesting one. Oh, do I still have my proportional editing turned on? No, I don't actually. All right, that's okay. I don't want it turned on. Ooh, we're really risking it all with that. Oh man. Okay. I'm a little scared to like turn my subdiv on. Okay, good. All right, I figured that would happen. That's okay. Perfect. Good and good. All right, so now we have something that looks like this. Cool. And then we have to have it kind of come up as well. Yeah, and I feel like that's probably the way to do it. I'm actually most excited about like the material on this, because we're gonna be able to like put this in the sky and all that. Okay. All right. Let's see what's next here. We have to kind of design this part here too. I'm almost tempted to say it's really not separate. Like it kind of is, but it's not, because, well, it's not. All right. Like I'm tempted to say this now has to come up and match the wing, which, why can't I see it? Oh, because I'm an experiment. Okay. So here's the overall thing. First of all, this sits much lower on the plane. It sits like right here. Okay. We'll take this, which is the edge of our wing, and we will move it up like that. Oh man, this is going to be an interesting one. GZ, 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 GX. Oh, this will be interesting. Now we have something that looks like this. Okay, we're getting there. Also, I should probably mention these should come in towards, well, I'll just select this whole edge. Yep, because they're going to want to attach to the plane. In fact, they should really be even more in there. Perfect. And I'm going to give this a solidify as well, just because I know we're going to eventually need it. Kind of want to see what this thing's going to look like as it goes. Oopsies. Yeah, okay. Starting to come together. And then let me do a bevel on this as well. Here. You know what's annoying about, I never found, maybe it was just because of the limit method. I want to see if there's no limit, if we can, I don't know why it wouldn't want me to bevel from there. I guess you could, theoretically, you could do a remesh. This is crazy. I don't suggest doing it like this, but I just want to see what this would look like. Just curious. Generally speaking, if you did do this method, you could get like really, really smooth plane wings. But you know what? We'll come back to that because I just want to model them first. All right. Anyway, back to what we were supposed to be doing, which is modeling these. I think after we get this part done, we'll take these. These are like our edge pieces. And we'll kind of just keep like extruding them up on the X. All right. Again, just same concept. Again, we're just kind of like bringing these up. Extrude, scale. I'm just kind of going for it. I don't know. I feel like if you just kind of go for it, you can get some good results sometimes, at least more quickly. And then the vertex crease, I'll crease that really nice. Bring this up. Bring this down. This guy wrong. There we go. Bring this guy down. We'll come back to that. All right, I just want to see what it looks like so far. All right, it's kind of coming along. The hardest part about this is probably going to be like getting that subdivision to look correct. And I do think that our width of our plane, the width didn't seem correct. Yeah, okay, I knew it didn't. So we'll go back here, move all this out a little bit. Some slight rotation. Cool. Cool. I love like refining. I don't know if you guys are the same way. Not like the show Severance, but like refining the look and the feel. Ah, this is nice. This is looking pretty cool though. I don't know, this thing is looking pretty cool. I'm pretty proud of it so far. I'm trying to figure out, are we matching the profiles correctly? And I feel like we are, at least according to this blueprint. Like we look on both sides and it's a pretty darn close match. I'm pretty proud of all of our work so far. All right, we're doing great. Let's go ahead and keep going. I'm gonna add some of the other things in here. Oh yeah, I'll shade it too. Yeah, why not? Why not? All right, now for up here for our like wings that come through, it looks like we have a couple of things going on. There's like a fin on the inside. I'll probably just do the same kind of like concept with this. I'll probably just duplicate this, right? Keep the solidify and all that. I'm gonna delete everything that we don't need. Just delete all these vertices. Let's go here, delete. I'm gonna delete everything like that. I'm gonna press this, kind of scale this down on the Y, and I'm gonna GG to slide, just rotate this a little bit. And I think I'll just kind of scale this down, and I'll just try to roughly match the shape of this. I know this thing is gonna go kind of like inside the wing, so I'll just kind of like be ready for that. I would like to have a loop cut here, and these two can kind of go over here and scale themselves down. And I feel like more or less, give these like a little bit of like crease here. Yeah, that's gonna look good. More or less, that's pretty much it. And then we just add our crease right here, bevel crease. Actually, this one shouldn't be as much though. Something like that looks good. And there it is. And then we just have to bring it down into place. And I do think it's thinner than the other one, so I'll probably just get rid of these. I'll go ahead and decrease that. And now we have something that looks like that. Awesome. And then I'll do the exact same thing on the other side. In fact, I'll just duplicate all this in edit mode, and I'll go to mesh, mirror, and we'll just do Y global. but then we need to flip the normals. So do mesh normals flip because I want it to match the correct normals. I'll do SY0 on these guys. I'll scale this whole piece up. I'll press L to select it, scale it up because it's a different scale. Okay, I'll rotate this. Boom. And I'm going to do basically the exact same thing we just did, except for on this one, you know what I'm actually going to do? I'm going to use my loop tools. I normally don't do this, but I feel like this is a perfect opportunity for it. Edit preferences, loop tools. I'll enable that. We'll go to our loop tools, and we will click on relax. Relax, bro. We'll extrude it, and then we'll just kind of refine from here. And there is a fly that is flying around my room, and I swear to God, if it comes too close to me, I might just use loop tools on them. All right, let's go ahead and vertex crease this guy. I feel like that's pretty much it. I mean, you can kind of come in here and square up the profile more, but more or less, that's kind of like what that shape would look like. And I feel like that is pretty much it. Now, yes, this is just like a solidify. This isn't really... Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, man, of course. We have our plane. I mean, this is a group effort. I mean, like, obviously, what I did notice, actually, is this one doesn't look the same as this one. So I don't know if that's, like, something we need to not have in there or how that works. But let's just make this chrome real quick and just see what it looks like, and then we'll move on to the next thing. Now, I will choose an environment texture for my world. So I'll just go ahead and find environment texture. I'll just do one that I know looks like the sky because, well, it is the sky. And then I will save this, switch over to cycles because we want to use cycles in GPU. I'll just give this a nice material. For this one, I'll just do metallic. I'll press A, Shift L, or Control L, link materials. I'll do like no roughness basically. And then I'll do a, why does this still look like Eevee? What's going on here? I'll do, you know what? Let's go to shading tab. Hold on. I need to actually make this not metallic. I need a principled. Principled, no roughness, metallic, and I need a coat on it. Yeah, there we go. Better. I feel like that's looking pretty darn cool. Now, obviously, there's a couple of things that I want to talk about because we kind of talked really briefly about this, but with this guy right here, for modeling wise, just go ahead and tab out of this. Yeah, so for this guy, we kind of were talking about like the potential of using like, oh, we're going to remesh this and then we're going to smooth it out, right? Kind of like briefly talked about that, but we never really like went through with doing it. So I just kind of want to see what it could look like just because there's potential for me to also copy those modifiers over here. Yeah, because I want it to be smooth, but I don't want it to be, it doesn't look great right now, right? Do voxel. Yeah, so like it's a little bit too like non-organic. That was one option. Obviously, like smooth modifier looks great, but it can get a little bit meh, you know what I mean? So you gotta be careful. You can increase your subdivision count. You can get rid of this remesh. You can increase subdivision, and then what did I have this at? 22. Yeah, it doesn't look terrible, but you got to be careful, right? You got to be kind of careful with like what you do with that. But yeah, for the most part, I feel like this doesn't look terrible. Like I kind of like it. You can keep working on it. It's definitely close enough where like you can use it for like something simple, but if you really want to like get into the details of it, you're going to have to like modify this thing to a pretty extreme extent. Yeah, so, and then let me look at something here. It also has like this kind of paneling on it, which is pretty cool. You could theoretically probably do that with like, I feel like you could do that with like maybe like a Voronoi texture and like a bump, maybe. Just see if we can do this. Yeah, let me see. We'll plug that into the height. And then I want a color ramp. I want to see strength and distance. Yeah, you can kind of see it coming through here a little bit, but I believe you need to do, is it distance? I forget which one. Oh yeah, it is distance. Okay, we don't want any randomness. We want it to be, was it Manhattan? I forget which one it is. Is it F2? One of these. Anyway, you can create like body panels on this thing. Here, let's just do a brick texture, actually. Keep it simple. Yeah, there we go. You can kind of see a little bit better now. See, like, there's like some slight deviations in this. I don't know if you can see that or not. We'll do no offset. We'll smooth the mortar. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. And then we need to, you know what we need to do? We need to make sure that we are on, we need mapping. We need texture coordinate. Someone said, hello, bro. Hope everything is good. Everything's great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys, like, always checking in on me. I'm doing great. No complaints here. To normal. Now, you know what? Generated was fine. I feel like it looks, like, pretty good for the most part. I just want to show you what this looks like. So you can create, and this is, you don't have to do this, obviously, but you can create, like, kind of like this paneled kind of look on here. And then what you can do is you can come in here and be like, okay, I want to create, like, sharp panels, or you can smooth it out more. Like, you can make this, maybe you can see this. You can make it, like, smooth by doing, where is it? This guy? Yep. Strength, obviously. And then you can choose, choose like the chisel type. And then you can choose an offset, a scale, obviously. Mortar size is like the distance. I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with this. That looks pretty good. Yeah, so you could like do something really cool like that. It's just an easy way to like add more detail to your models. Yeah, you can use Node Wrangler, yeah. I mean, you know what's funny? Because I want to talk about this just for a second, is a lot of the times people are like, well, there's a faster way to do it, or there's a better way to do it. But me personally, I actually am just so quick with what I'm doing now that I don't even it's almost slower to try to increase my speed. Does that make sense? Like trying to find more tools to do like things faster is actually going to slow me down in the end. Does that kind of make sense? Nothing against Node Wrangler. It's a great add-on / like enhancement to Blender. But for me, like, that's something that would actually end up slowing me down. But regardless, that was a really fun one. I think it's time to model a pair of glasses. So here's what we're going to do. I am going to pull up glasses. All right. And now I guess it's up to you guys to decide, okay, what kind of pair of glasses are we going to like model? I wish I had a picture of my own glasses, but I don't think I do. Yeah, glasses shouldn't be incredibly difficult. I guess it really depends on like the frames. I'm really just probably going to do this with like a plane and solidify, that type of thing. Or we can do like some more complex glasses. I mean, it really depends on what you guys are looking for. So why don't you guys go ahead and do me a favor, drop a comment, let me know which glasses you want to see, and we'll be right back, okay? How can we fill the panels? Google Glasses. If I can make a suggestion, model an armor, like knight armor, I'll add it in there. Okay, so Spider-Man glasses. Hypnotic glasses? Oh my god. Tony Stark glasses? Oh, those are kind of sick, actually. Oh, I didn't realize he gave him a pair of glasses. Dude, those are $45 is not that bad, actually. Yo, can you please get out of this? Thank you. Get out of here, bro. Yeah, these are sick. I feel like we could definitely model these. What do you guys think? Are you guys cool with this? My glasses? Are you guys cool with these glasses? I feel like these are pretty cool looking. What do Google glasses look like? Never seen Google glasses. Bro, what the heck? What? What are these things? What? Bro, what? Trippy, dude. Morpheus glasses. Yo. Here, we're going to do that. Well, maybe we'll have time to do more. Let's, let me save this image. Let me save this image. And let me save this image. And we're going to drop them all in the blender. 1, 2, 3. Bet you didn't know you could do that, huh? All right. 90, 0, 0. And we'll do a little bit of 90, 0, 0. And of course, we'll do a little bit of 90, 0, 0. And we'll go ahead and set this up as follows. This guy can go over here. Oopsies. There we go. How nice is that? All right, now we'll need a top profile. Now, let's go ahead and try to center this to the best of our abilities here. I feel like that's pretty good. All right, there we go. All right, this guy, it doesn't matter where he is. This does matter because this I want to be like right here. And then these guys need to be at the same Z height, so I'll just zero both of them out. And I think we're good to go. Yeah, we should be good. That should be all we need for these. I can't anticipate this being an extremely difficult model, but I've been wrong before. So I think what I'll do is I'll just start with an empty. We'll just start with a plain axis and kind of just keep that in the center. That can be like our origin point. And yes, I understand you can use the 3D cursor, but I kind of like having like an object. It's just what I think will look best. And then I'm going to start with a plane. I'm going to tab into edit mode, scale it down, move it over here, and I'm going to apply my mirror modifier right away. Yep. Tab in edit mode, RX90, and now we have the ability to kind of start really piecing this thing together, right? And I think like the natural place to start will be like right about there. Now let me just see something. Yeah, okay. I think we're going to do this. Yep, awesome. And then we'll just take this edge and just start extruding it out and just kind of go from there. I'm just really going to be extruding and oh, you know what? You know what I just realized we can do that's actually easier than this? We can actually, well, let me check. Is the thickness the same all the way around? No, it's not. Never mind. Ignore that. I was going to say we could use a curve, but we're not going to do that. We're going to just keep extruding, and we'll probably add a subdiv eventually. Okay, extruding. Again, I'm trying to make sure that when I extrude and I rotate, I try to like maintain like relative proportions here, but it doesn't have to be like perfect, right? It's tough because there's like almost looks like there's like a concave part too. We'll come back to that. I want to hope that we'll be able to do this like all completely with modifiers, but we're going to find out real quick, aren't we? So we're going to get random. I'm not going for perfect. I'm going for good, though. I'm going for good. Now, if this was for a client, I might do this a little bit differently. This is just my preferred method for what we're doing right now on the live stream. So like now we're getting up to a point where we're going to have to start scaling this out. And this is where things are going to get interesting because now we have this like thing going on over here, right? And I think We might just be able to get away with like something simple here. Yeah, I think we can. Kind of come up here. I feel like that's pretty good. Again, kind of coming here, kind of rotating, scaling. Gets a little weird sometimes though. And we don't have our subdiv turned on just yet, so make sure you're saving as you're going if this is something that you're following along with. I'm just kind of going for it. I don't know that this is necessarily the best way to do it, but I don't really care because this is the way I'm doing it. How about that? All right, good. Extrude, scale. Just see how this is coming along here. Good. And this is where I'm going to start to kind of rotate this and try to get that like interesting angle here that we have. Again, scaling. Well, it looks pretty good so far. And then when we get to the end and we get to a point where we're kind of like happy with it, we can of course come down here and we can do F. And that's kind of like a weird shape at the end there, so I might have to check my like, this looks kind of weird. It's hard to tell where the frame starts and stops. But regardless, that's the like overall frame, so that I think like you do a subdivision on that. Now it's nice and smooth. You know, you do a little solidify guy on there. I can hear my boy running around upstairs. All right, where's the subdivision? There we go. Okay, so now you got that, right? And now we have like kind of like the start of our frames here. And then I think behind them, there's like this piece that goes back. So I just want to see like how far that goes back. It's really hard to tell. It's kind of a little bit easier to tell up there. Oh, no, maybe it doesn't go back. Only the nose piece goes back, but this part is like a different part. So hold on, let me see something. I think what we can do is we can simply take a small segment. Doesn't have to be anything perfect. I'm just duplicating it. And then I'm going to extrude it, scale it. Let me turn off subdivision so I can see what I'm doing. Bring this top piece down. And then extrude, scale, extrude, scale. And then extrude along the X. And then SX0, EX. Boom. And then for the top, I'm going to do SZ0 to kind of flatten that out because I think it does go perfectly across. This part, I'll bring it down. And then I think everything should look good. All right, now there's one issue. We need to make sure we merge these in the center with our mirror, which really should be right here. Really, it should be there. Yeah, it should be there. There we go. And let's see how we're looking. Oh, man, that looks good. Okay, and then, like I said, I think we're going to need to flip the normals on this bad boy, too. Mesh normals, and then flip, and then we can take this piece, and I believe it's, like, slightly inset. Like that. Yeah, like that. That looks good. Okay, and then we'll do the exact same thing below, because the below piece kind of, like, comes in, and it goes, like, out and all that stuff. There's probably a fast way to do it. Thinking about how to do it for long, learn the primitive way. Yeah, I think primitives are probably the way to go. Again, my personal opinion. You don't have to do it, but you know you can do it that way. All right, and this will be the last thing we do on the live stream, guys, because I do have some stuff I got to get to today. But don't worry, there will be more. All right, and we take these, we extrude. Bring it down a little bit, bring it down a little bit, bring it down a little bit, start scaling. And then I kind of get confused as to like what happens here, but I'm going to take this, move it back, because I do know that there's like an inset thing about this. Maybe there's not. It's really tough to tell because that could just be a reflection, right? That could be a reflection behind there. So I'm going to just assume that it's not, though. Let's assume that it's just straight across, and if it is, we can do something like that. Okay? I think it looks pretty good so far. Thoughts, guys? It's like I said, it's kind of hard to tell like what's happening because we don't have like every single angle, but this is kind of like, but how will we survive without CG Cookie? Oh, bro, you just wither away. That's what'll happen. You'll wither away. I appreciate that. No, we you know, we really do appreciate the compliments. All right, let's go ahead and take a look here. Okay, so this part here kind of extends off. So I think I have an idea on how I can do that. So this little piece here kind of comes like this, right? Kind of comes this way. And it kind of just extends off like this. Let me see how much it extends off, though. Ooh, we have a slight bow. We have a slight bow. Does everyone see that? So we're going to have to match that bow. Also, why is this not matching? I guess let's just assume. All right, that's about the right thing. So now how do we get that, like, bow out from the center, right? It's ever so slight. Now, my first thought is proportional editing, right? We take all of this, we use some proportional editing, and we just do an ever so slight bow. It's my, like, initial first thought. And I feel like that's the way to do it. So I'm just going to do it like that because I think that looks really nice. Now we're going to have to fix this this weird issue that we're having here. Now I think the reason we're getting this weird issue, turn off proportional editing, is this corner is like really, really pinched. Let me just see something. Yeah, we're getting some weird pinching issues here. Just curious what would happen. Yep, okay. Let's see. Let me check our solidify and see what's going on. Why are we getting that? That's it's a weird issue to be having. Is it really that bad? I'm not sure 100% why we're getting this. Sometimes when things like this happen, I question, like, you know, did I do something incorrectly while, like, modeling? And if so, like, what was that incorrect thing? Or is it something really, really simple that, like, I'm like, wait a second, we could fix this. Ah, here we go. That helps a little bit. I feel like that helped enough where I'm, like, kind of okay with it, but no, I'm not. No, I'm not. Solidify can be a little bit of a tricky thing. Part of me wonders if we do, I'm just curious, like, what this would look like if we did solidify first and then subdiv. Yeah, no, we don't want to do that. Subdiv, then solidify. And then really, yeah, it looks fine. That looks okay. We'll come back to it. I'm not 100% sure what's happening there. It definitely has to do with the order of the, if it's not proportional. Yeah, it probably has to do with the order. Either way, though, guys, I do want to take this opportunity to take these things, duplicate them, and then do separate selection. And we're going to extrude this. Okay, extrude, 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 scale, extrude, scale a little bit, extrude, scale, extrude, scale. All right, we're coming down to the interesting part here. This is like, because I think we're gonna have to do some like weird proportional editing again. And kind of scale some things in like weird ways that we haven't. Let's see if we can scale this. I'm just trying my best to like kind of just match what I see. And then we'll adjust the thickness, of course. Don't worry on that one, guys. Okay, scale and scale. All right. Not terrible. I mean, in terms of like the method we're using, I feel like that is the method to use. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and increase that. Yup. And I'm gonna increase this. A little bit better. I'll maybe even increase this a little bit more. Okay. I'm feeling pretty good about that. Now it's a matter of like, do these bow back as well? And I think that they probably do. And I'm tempted to say maybe there's a 3D model online, because I think sometimes they let you like, here we go, 360. Oh, here we go. I think they come in the back. So I think they go like this. Like if you take the back, the very back, like these ones are here, and then you turn on your proportional editing, I think it's kind of like this. Like I think they come in just a little bit. Not too much though, like almost just like that. Thoughts? Yeah, I feel like that's it. I feel like that's it. Okay, cool. All right. Now let's see what we're looking at here. Honestly, not terrible. Now you're probably thinking, well, Kenny, you forgot the glasses, the actual glass in the glasses. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Don't worry, guys. I got it. I got it. You just select the inner edge loop, Shift D, and then scale. Right-click, separate selection. Tap on that selection, scale it out, extrude, scale. Oh Lord, this is going to be a real risk here. So now, this is the part that's scary, because we could try to grid fill it. Did we really just get that lucky? Oh my gosh. Now, I think at this point, what I would like to do, get rid of the subdivision. I just want to remesh this smoothly. Oh Lord, this will be an interesting one. Hold on, let me save this before I do anything else. Let me get rid of my proportional editing. Oh, we might be able to get away with this. Let's see. Let's see what happens when we switch over to cycles, and we'll throw some materials on this thing. I'm a little bit nervous. But we'll see what we get. You can do F to fill, but I guess it really depends on like the material that you're putting on there. Like we're going to be putting glass on this. Doesn't look horrible. I don't even remember what this thing looked like. What did where's my image editor? There it is. Okay, so what did we have? Chrome, like a chrome look to part of it. These were black, so that's easy. We'll just do a nice Principal BSDF. We'll make them black. We'll give them a high coat of glossiness. Select everything, shade smooth, good. And then for this part, it's got like a transparent material, but I actually want to zoom in on these, and I want to select L and L. I want to make these their own material. So I can see them, I'm going to make them blue. I'll assign it, select invert, new material, and assign. So now we have two separate materials to work with. Perfect. And then for the blue one, I just want to make this a nice like chrome. So I'll make it high metallic, low roughness. And I'll give it a little sheen coat as well. And then I don't want any saturation in that. And now we go back to shading. And then for the other material, let me just see something. There we go. For the other material, let's see what we're getting here. It's almost like a transparent type of material. It's weird. And then like inside is something else. But I think we can probably do a mixed shader, and we can do a high gloss premium material with low roughness. But it almost has this, I kind of want to grab that color. Can I grab that color? I think I have it. All right, and then I want to do a mix with a transparent. Yep. And this will be the last thing we do, guys, and then we'll have to come back on another live stream. Oh, crap. I did it on the wrong material. I did not mean to do this. We'll copy all these nodes. I was on the wrong material selection. That's my fault. Luckily, I saved the other one, and we're good. Now what we can do is we can adjust the transparency here. Perfect. All right, now we have transparent mixed with metallic. Although, part of me is tempted to say, do we do transparent mixed with like a frosted glass almost? Or not really frosted glass, but let me see. Glossy. Let me try a glossy and see what we get. See, that's kind of nice. See how you kind of have that transparent look now? It's kind of cool. Not exactly what I'm going for, because I think there's more that I would want to do to this model, but let me just see. Can I get a bevel on here? Ooh, if I could get a bevel on here, that would be kind of huge. And bevel after solidify. Wow, it really doesn't want to let me. Probably because of the way it's solidified. But regardless, looks good. All right, guys, listen. Well, I'm going to go ahead and hop offline. This has been a fun one. I feel like we did a ton of awesome stuff today. We got a great live stream in. One last thing I just want to shout out to you guys. Well, just a couple of things. One, obviously we have Core. It's already been released, and there is a $150 sale right now. Great investment of your money. I'll be taking all of the courses myself, and I happen to be involved with one of them, which is the Fundamentals of Physics. And I also just want to quickly shout out some of my products, because I know you guys are interested in those as well. They're all going to be 25% off starting tomorrow. So go ahead and check them out. And here, just go to my page real quick. If you guys want to check those out as well, you can. I have a lot of awesome products, and a lot of these we've actually went over on the live streams, and I've actually showed you how to make some of these products as well. So, if there's any that you ever want to see demoed on the live stream, just let me know. But again, there's a huge sale going on starting tomorrow on SuperHive. So I wanted to shout that out because I'm heavily involved with them as well as my own products as well. But we love doing these live streams as well. It's just so much fun to like see your user suggestions. And a lot of the times people also ask like, hey, can I see my logo getting embroidered on fabric like this? So this is one of those things that people have been checking out as well. And we talked about how to do this in geometry nodes. So definitely worth checking out. I really appreciate everything you guys do for our community and CG Cookie. And on behalf of CG Cookie, we want to thank you guys. And again, just dropping a link in the chat here. We're all about education around Blender and 3D. So yeah, we have some amazing experts. Definitely check them out. I'm one of them. I'm happy enough and lucky enough to be able to work with CG Cookie. And there's just some incredible courses on here that you can take advantage of. Also a fun little article about some of the stuff that I do as well. This is a newer one. This is our sessions one. I just, I don't have enough good things to say about it. It's just so awesome. Oh, there's so many great ones on here. And it's a fun website too. You get to see like some testimonials, what people have to say. Everything new in Blender. We're always posting articles and different content. And if you search, there's another really cool one on here. Is it Macro? I think it was Macro. Yeah, this one's awesome. This one, I've learned so much from this specific course. It's insane. But if you really want to learn like absolute fundamentals of Blender, Core is absolutely the way to go. It's on pre-sale right now. Again, I already talked about it, but I can't help but shout it out just because if you look and you scroll down, this is kind of like some of the top sellers this week. Core is moving on up because everyone wants to get their hands on this before it goes full price. And yeah, I would definitely take advantage. All right, guys, I want to thank you guys so much. Have a great day. Keep on blending. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them on the comments or just like let us know, like what are some other things that you want to see on the live stream? Like we're here to help you guys and create some awesome stuff in Blender. So without further ado, I will see you guys in the next video.